Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey! Hump day! D Fox in the building today. We got a full schedule today.
Full slate.
Bernie's coming in. Shaun King's going to tell us just how much Deshaun Watson improved.
Oh, I'm talking some Tulane football with Shaun King.
Why do you like to go to Tulane football?
I was just there. I did their game Saturday.
He led them to an undefeated, Green Wave, to an undefeated season his senior year.
Sneakiest, best uniforms in the game.
Dude, they're dope. Dude, they've got the
Are those the metallic green? Is that
the Green Wave, man?
Yeah, the Green Wave.
And they got the Carolina blue in there. It's
they
nice
got the
little
blue.
tip. Oh, dude.
Hey,
next level dope.
They got them in Coastal Carolina.
I got tons of coastal gear. The Chanticleers, baby. Go Shants.
Well, we probably won't get into the Green Wave, but we will definitely talk about how much improvement Deshaun Watson exhibited from week 3 to week 4. And also, I know we've got something else coming up on the program.
Got some trade rumors.
Big time wide receivers. Trade rumors, yeah.
Talking some Guardians.
Let's talk a little playoff baseball. How about all the games last night, Bull? I was locked in.
Great day. The last 2 days, just great October.
Big fan of the Road Dogs. Big fan of the Road Dogs.
I love it.
Yep.
Can't get enough of it.
And by the way, since they've gone to the 3-game series, though,
I love it too.
The team that won game 1 is 8-0 in the series.
It's something to be.
Wow.
It's a different type feeling knowing you're in the hole waiting for an opponent.
You know what?
You're just watching it like
it's better than the 1-game elimination run they used to have. I mean, there's no room for error. You went right to game 3, 5, 7, whatever it was. At least this way, in a series where you're facing a guy like Scooble, where you're kind of scratching your head saying, how do we win this game? At least you have 2 other games that you can get it done. Scooble was great.
He was awesome.
Yeah. That's exactly why he's Cy Young.
If I was a Tigers fan, I'd be scared, though, because they came out, the trainer came out to look at him in that last inning he pitched.
I know
he finished the inning, but still.
Can I give you a quick theory on that? I know we got a lot to go on.
Yeah.
He was trying to think of a reason to not have the umpire pissed off at him because he upstaged him on the call. And I know that because I've done it.
I could see that because he was pissed the call before.
And he got to let his emotions get the best of him, which you're never supposed to do, particularly in a playoff game. But the second he turned around, I thought, he's going to – and it's not just what was left for game 1. You don't want the blue on the other team's side for the series.
The only reason I was a little concerned for him is because he got hit earlier.
And the next pitch or a few pitches later, he almost gave up a home run.
Right. That's true.
So – you're possible. It could be right.
Yeah, it could be that.
When I saw it, I go, he upstaged the umpire, and now he's going to say that, no, it wasn't for you. I got an injury.
Yeah, I could see that. Because it did seem like he was pissed at first.
But what great October 1st and October is.
But that game, the way that game ended with the tying runs on base.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you thought the Tigers were going to blow it.
And Jason Hayward, who has obviously not what he used to be, but he's got experience in that spot.
And he smoked it.
But
right to Torkelson.
Right
so.
I know we talked about it. I have further entrenched myself in this position.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with the Detroit Tigers.
I know, right?
They're so dangerous.
It's most likely that's who we're going to get.
I don't like the Astros. I'll take the Tigers.
The Tigers
are
32-13 in their last 45.
And Scooble's going to be able to pitch twice in that 5-game series.
I know he will. So you've got no safety net.
You got to win game 1 because he's going to pitch game 2.
And they're imploring the strategy. I said, boo, why don't you just run a different pitcher out there every single inning? Like these guys don't have starters after this dude.
They don't.
Yeah.
No, their starting depth is not good.
They're like, I'm gonna just run some.
But all their guys have pitched well down the stretch.
And you know what they do, Bull? Yeah. Their lineup is sneaky good in the clutch.
Yeah, I mean it has been for the last month. They don't have a single player on their team that you're scared of. Riley Green's their best player.
Yeah, they don't have the Hosey and
they don't
Naylor.
have the superstars, but I think Riley Green's going to be. But but no.
You can't lose to Detroit. I'm sorry, you just can't.
That's why it scares me so much. Like that's
They've got
that's a
nothing to
nightmare
lose,
scenario.
man. They have nothing to lose.
Detroit's playing with house money, and
They
you
are.
never want to see that.
Good manager too, and AJ
Great
Hinch.
manager.
Yeah.
And how
Great
much
job.
does Hinch want to get over on the Astros too? By the way.
Oh, big time.
I mean, they fired him.
Yes.
So, all right, let's dive into football. Before we do, we got a first read of the day. Oh, also, I know what I failed to mention. Bridget Linton is going to be in
studio
in the last hour of the show.
Yeah, she's going to come in at about 12:40. Actually going to swap Bull for Bridget. Bull has to run, so we're going to put Bridget in Bull's chair.
I got to go somewhere.
And we'll end the show with Bridget Linton, the in-stadium host for the Cleveland Browns. And before we do a read, it's my dad's 60th birthday, so happy birthday, Dad. All right.
That's 60, huh? Same age?
60 years
almost
old.
the same
Yep.
age as Jay.
Almost
You
the
could
same
be
age as
Mike's
me.
dad.
That's right.
Well, Corey's a year older than me, so that's right in line.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
very
that's
much
good.
in line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy birthday,
I like
boss.
your dad, by the way. Chill, low-key dude.
Good guy.
He was in last Friday. Did they enjoy their weekend?
Great time. We had a very,
Awesome.
very good
I
I'm
can
really
definitely
glad to hear
picture
that.
Mike's dad like being at Woodstock, getting wasted.
No, he wasn't born at Woodstock.
Well,
I'm saying.
Not,
okay.
Right, but I'm saying just
He would have been that
theory.
type of dude, you
yes,
think?
don't you think, Mike?
Are we on with that?
Yeah, I don't think you're far off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
I
he
can see your
enjoys
dad
that.
being a free lover.
That's a compliment, man.
Yeah,
That's
no,
a
he
compliment.
definitely enjoys having a good time.
Yeah, I like your dad. He's a good dude.
I do too.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's get into today's show. It starts with a quick word from FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more right on the same page where you can place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's at FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Wide receiver trade rumors were the name of the day yesterday, and we'll talk about Davante Adams in a second, but let's start with Amari Cooper. Adam Schefter was on ESPN the other day and mentioned that after the injury to Rashee Rice, that Amari Cooper could be a potential trade target for the Kansas City Chiefs. That led to a couple other rumors. According to reports, the Browns had at least fielded a call on Amari Cooper. Before we talk about Davante Adams, I want to focus on Cooper for this. Is it too early for the Browns at just 1-3 to even consider trading Amari Cooper, their top receiver, even though he hasn't played to that level at this point of the season? Is it too early for that?
I'm strong on this. Yes, it's way too early. Way too early. He's still the same guy that got free on the 82-yard touchdown. Wasn't his fault. There was a hold. The drops are too much. They've got to clean those. He's got to clean those up. I think that's a product of being preoccupied. He'll get dialed in, and you know why he'll get dialed in? Whether he's playing for the Browns or some other team, he's playing for next year's contract.
Yeah.
And so it's 1-3. You know, we love hyperbole. I'm the worst at it. I came in here on Monday and I said, I don't have energy for this anymore. We're 1-3. We're 2 plays from being 3-1.
So is everybody else.
You're right. And you know what that
Yeah.
means? With all this parity, 10-7 will probably get you in.
Yeah.
So I think it's too early to start talking about that. If the trend continues, then you talk about it. But he's still the guy that got free on that 82-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not trading Amari Cooper right now for the same reason. A, it's too early, and B, 1, it's too early, and 2, his value's not that high right now.
Not
so
now.
what are you trading him
You'd
for?
be selling low, wouldn't you, Bull?
Yeah, of course. If it's 3 weeks from now and the Browns are 1-6, okay. Well, he's going to be gone at the end of the year anyway. Get what you can for him.
Yeah.
But there's a long way between 1-3 and 1-6. The Browns win this week. All of a sudden, we're feeling differently, especially because they're playing Washington. So Washington's played great the last 2 weeks. If they go ahead and beat Washington, well, now you're playing Philly the week after. They're not playing great. Maybe you get to 500.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it certainly could.
Yeah, you don't want to give up on that possibility.
That
and
makes
if you
no
trade
sense.
your biggest and maybe only receiver threat. I haven't seen much from anybody else.
This to me, guys, is absolutely insanity. It's been 4 games, and he's had bad moments in those 4 games, but the guy's a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. He's our best weapon on offense, guys. There's no doubt. Until Nick Chubb gets back and Njoku gets back, we don't have many options on offense. Yeah. And the drop was big, the interception was big. But to your point, the touchdown, he did get open. He made some other plays in the game.
His third game of the year was great.
Yeah.
It's 4 games.
Yeah.
We're going to cut our best offensive weapon after, or not cut him, but I mean,
it's a
cut
white flag on the
ties.
season
No,
to me because you're not going to get a comparable player.
No.
You're going to get picks, and that means you've already flipped the page to rebuild, not week 4.
You're not even going to get high picks. So what would be the point? There's just no point to
Unless you're just giving up on the season. You're like, screw it, we just want to draft a quarterback next year.
Well, if that's the case, you might as well trade Myles Garrett, too. Might as well load up, go for a low record, get a high draft pick, and then rebuild
And
next
even if
year.
you're going to do that, wait on Amari Cooper so he has a good game or two. So, his value goes up a little bit.
If you were going to trade him, you would have traded him after the 3rd week when his value was way up here.
You're not trading him now.
No.
Is this a clean sweep, G. Bush?
Yeah, my wife the other night, she made like chicken thighs again. It was like the 2nd or 3rd time in a row.
The 3rd night in a row?
Yeah, she's been working a lot.
Chicken
man.
thighs,
Chicken
huh?
thighs.
I love chicken thighs, but not.
I have nothing wrong with them one night.
Yeah, but
There was a shortage of wings for a while. Then the thighs
came
became a
back.
thing. Yeah,
So,
never had them.
They're making a late push.
G. Bush is known for liking the
Did you just say
thighs.
you've never had thighs before?
Chicken thighs, I have not.
Really? Never had chicken thighs?
Why?
Other thighs, but not chicken thighs.
Pause. Yeah, wow, I'm surprised that you've never had
That
them.
is
Never had.
wild.
Listen, they're fine. I mean, they're not.
They're delicious.
They're not wings. They're good, but I can't do it 3 nights in a row. I can't do anything 3 nights in a row.
I think chicken thighs are way better than chicken wings.
Oh yeah, I'm in on the wings.
Dark meat tastes better, right, G. Bush?
Hey, listen, this is
He would know.
Not 3 nights in a row, apparently.
the white men on the stage are just out of pocket right now. But I will say, you don't get divorced over chicken thighs 3 days in the world.
Sure.
Bro.
No.
This is chicken thighs right here. What are you talking about? I'm not trading Amari Cooper. What do we got left? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're trying
We're
to
gonna trade a chicken wing for a chicken thigh?
no, no, you're not going to do that. But by the way, there's no chicken wings coming back to the Browns. Browns have no wings. No one's going to make that trade. No one's going to give you.
Browns have the gizzard coming back.
Yes, they have the carcass. We're going to make some stew.
The wishbone.
This is absolutely crazy. You're 1-3. You're a couple plays away from being, like you say, you could be 3-1, and you don't want to signify to your locker room, no matter what we think. Amari Cooper is a veteran. He's respected in the locker room, and when you trade veterans this early in a process, you're waving a white flag. The trade value that you're going to get back is not really there. And plus, too, like, come on, like he dropped the football. I think he'll get better. In the moment,
In fairness, he leads the league in drops.
Yeah,
I mean, it has been a 4-game
bad start. It's a horrible start for him. But
he's a pro.
At this point, you got to hope he gets over that and he can put that behind him because there's no alternative.
Guys, we're not having this conversation if that touchdown stands.
Right.
Not at all. Not at all.
So
that
tells you how
to his line.
that tells you how silly the conversation is.
Yeah, it's just one.
If one play would change it, like
That's
what are we
it.
doing?
You know what,
Especially when he's coming off, as you said the week before, he had his best game of the year.
Right.
So, and he looked like himself again.
You know what's funny, Dustin? And we talked about this on Monday. You talk about if that holding call isn't made, like all of the criticisms that we leveled on Monday, and trust me, it was a 2-hour Browns are the punching bag show on Monday, and rightfully so. But we always say this: winning hides all warts.
Mm-hmm.
If that isn't called holding, and the Browns are 2-2, we're sitting here going, hey, we're not apologizing for anything, man. I don't care if it's ugly or not. A win on the road is a win on the road. We're 2-0 on the road. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And you're overlooking all of that stuff. But because there was a ticky-tack holding call, all of the warts are brought to the front, and now we're hanging our dirty laundry on the line.
It only takes one moment to change everything.
Isn't
and the
it
great
amazing?
thing about football, and bad thing too, is that we react so much like prisoners of the moment because we've got this 7-day window until we play again. It's not like baseball. It's like, oh, bad night. Let's
get him again tomorrow.
We'll get him tomorrow.
Yeah,
you know,
no, we have 7 days.
It's like
to talk
7
about
days to totally digest everything and panic. And at 1-3, I think most people are like, man, we're probably gonna lose the Commanders this weekend.
Right, yeah,
1-4, the season's over. It's like, well, if we were 2-2, everyone would be saying, man, we're gonna go beat the Commanders and be 3-2.
And you know what's weird too? We all said on the panel that the Browns were going to beat the Giants. Clean sweep.
Yeah.
And then on Friday, all but one, Mikey, said that the Raiders were going to beat us.
Although
right?
I changed my pick when I heard that Crosby and
well, yeah, that's true. And that happened after our picks on Friday.
You got your more information?
You get Crosby and Adams.
When you lose your best offensive and defensive player, I mean, the line, just from that note, the line moved 3 points, which is almost never happens.
Moved more, by the time the game started, it moved 5.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, for not a quarterback.
Yeah, but imagine like if the Browns were playing somebody in Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb or Rule.
Yeah, that was the equivalent.
Yeah.
The line would move 5 points.
Yeah.
And the fact that they lost that. So, yeah, we could easily be 2-2, but we're not.
Yep.
But to your point, Bull, that everybody expects us to lose to the Commanders. Well, hell, there you go. In this year's NFL, the Browns go in there and win.
Well, coaches talk about this all the time. You don't just lose. You take L's in small increments throughout the week. Mm-hmm. You know, that holding penalty is set up by bad technique. The holding penalty is set up by not understanding what type of quarterback and the personnel you have around you to play complementary football. If you have Deshaun Watson behind you, they teach you as an offensive lineman, as a scrambler, as soon as that
you got to disengage.
You got to disengage.
Yes,
you have,
let go.
And they preach that. But it's the small little things that you're not paying attention to, and they'll show a cut up. If the good coaching staff's organization, Bill Belichick and Saban say it all the time. The games that you barely squeak by and win, that you got away with certain things, that very next week is the most dangerous week for a team, because in their mind they're saying we got away with that.
Right.
We got away with it.
Yeah.
And it sets you into this malaise of thinking that, oh, well, it's just a bounce here, a bounce there. When no, you have to be coaching against that, and you got to be cognizant of that and be mindful, because the same things are happening in different weeks, and it is a different player. It's a DeJuan Jones here. It's a Harris here. It's a drop football right here. Those things all snowball, and they're the difference between really good teams that find a way to win and teams that are 1-3.
Well, look at the Chiefs. They're the modern day version of the Patriots. In 3 or 4 of their last 8 games, they should have lost. Mm-hmm. But because they're a great team and they're coached well and they do all the little things, they're able to overcome a bad performance and still get the win. The Browns aren't there. If the Browns play poorly, they're losing the game.
I don't think anybody's there besides the Chiefs.
Well, the Chiefs are. They're the only one.
The Chiefs are the only team in that category.
One.
You never count the Chiefs out.
No.
With any other team in the NFL right now, you can't be surprised by a win or loss any week. Even like the Panthers, they beat the Raiders, and then the Patriots, who are terrible, beat the Bengals, and then every week there's going to. It's hard to predict. The NFL is becoming harder to predict.
Yeah, the bottom wins and losses is coming down to the bottom of your rosters. Wins or losses are, think about
depth.
It. Like the top 25 or 30 people, all of them are good. But is your backup center going to hold? Is your right tackle going to not block anybody? Is your running back going to drop the foot? Those small little errors are huge. You need the bottom of your roster to play as if the game depends on me.
I think that's part of it, but I also think it's coming down to the last 2 minutes in each half, last 4 minutes in each half.
Seems to
is the quarterback making plays in those key moments.
And is your coach having correct clock management? Are you doing things to make sure that you put your team in good positions?
One last thing on Cooper. Clean sweep. I would not entertain the idea of trading him, but you guys know Cleve TA. Bull, I know you've had him on your podcast.
TA is my buddy, man.
Everybody knows him.
Yeah, TA is really, really good at what he does. Good Twitter follow. He tweeted out this morning something he was thinking about with Amari. After the restructure, the Browns may, if they were to entertain trade ideas for Amari, they could ask for a little more because of the restructure. They've already paid essentially his entire salary up front.
Right.
So maybe you could get a little more back via draft capital, but we might be talking a 4th instead of a 5th, or a 5th instead of a 6th.
It's nominal.
I don't think
it's not
going
to take a second to a first.
And
That's
again,
for sure.
if
Exactly.
the Browns
if
this is 3 weeks from now and the Browns have lost 3 more games, we're all going to have a different opinion because he's gone at the end of this year, so you trade him before the deadline, but you can't give up now.
There's one other point that I wanted to make, but I specifically waited until now because I know what we're going to next. The reason, we already laid out a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
The other huge reason you wouldn't trade him right now is because there's a better receiver that is likely available.
And we're going to talk about that after a quick word from Prize Picks, Jay. We're going to get into the Davante Adams news, and you can bet on Davante Adams over-unders, just like Amari Cooper overs-unders on Prize Picks, which is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active users. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Plus, PrizePicks puts their members first, so you can get your money back fast, safely, and secure when your picks hit. You get it as quickly as 15 minutes. You can download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly just by playing $5. You don't even have to win to receive that bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game when you want. Jay, you just alluded to it, but Davante Adams officially asked for a trade from the Raiders yesterday. It is not imminent. We have been told, at least through reporting, that it's something to watch. The favorites now, the Jets, the Saints, the Cowboys are monitoring it. Should the Browns be in on this potential Davante Adams sweepstakes?
The Browns are not going to be on this sweepstakes, and here's why. Because Davante Adams is not going to come play for the Browns.
Nope.
So I'm not going to waste my time again like we did with Brandon Ayuk. And then at least you could make an argument that he'd be interested in the Browns, because coming into the season you had more hope for the Browns than you do now. And even though we all just said, well, you can't give up on the season, if Davante Adams is unhappy with the Raiders and they trade him, it's because he's going to have some say about where he goes.
Right.
Why would he want to come to the Browns?
And he's already said who his favorites are.
Right. Why would he want to come to another team, the team that's even worse than his own team? Right now, and it doesn't make any sense. He wants to either go play with his buddy Aaron Rodgers or go play, a town he wants to go to. There's nothing about Cleveland that's going to get Davante Adams to want to play here, so I wouldn't even bother.
To that point, Bull, the last time a player came out and said, I am not interested in Cleveland, thanks, it cost the Browns $230 guaranteed million. That was Deshaun Watson.
The first time, right?
Well,
Deshaun Watson came out and said, I'm not going to Cleveland.
Technically, the last time was Brandon Ayuk, and that cost you're right.
Maybe
the Browns, Amari Cooper's attitude. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm speculating.
You're absolutely right.
And then before that was Deshaun Watson.
You're absolutely right.
I'm just not going to get started with Davante Adams. I don't see
He is not coming to Cleveland.
No.
Full stop.
I don't see it.
Just something you said there. Are we sure Amari has a bad attitude right now?
No, we're not sure.
Okay.
But he did. We this much we know.
Okay.
He tweeted, "Go ahead." I'd have been fine with a trade.
Yeah. Or he may be distracted, or maybe it has nothing. Maybe it's just coincidence that he's not playing well. Who knows? I'm saying it could be a factor.
Yeah.
The fact that we're going to move him.
It feels like distraction. It does.
Possibly.
When you drop a ball that's right in your mitts and you're a Pro Bowl receiver, likely something is going on, and it's not just been one; it's been a lot of them. And so, but we still have seen that. I'm not ready to say, he got old from January to August, because I saw the third game with my own eyes.
Right.
I saw him shake his man and get wide open on an 82-yard tutty. I can't say that he's old yet, but I can say it feels to me like there's something going on with Amari Cooper that sounds to me like it's a distraction.
No top-flight receiver is coming to Cleveland, Ohio. I'm just letting you know. It's not going to happen. Receivers talk like, people in high school. They're going to be like, hey, listen. Hey, Odell, should I go to Cleveland? Hell. Hey,
to the nana?
Jarvis Landry, should I go to? Man, let me tell you about. Hey, listen, Amari Cooper, you just had the best year of your life last year. How you feel about Cleveland? Ain't nobody. So they're going to come here. We tough on receivers. We don't like really flashy. We don't even like people talking. We like our receivers to block well, catch touchdowns, and hand the ball back to the
Don't wear Rolexes.
Don't wear Rolexes or Audemars or jewelry. We don't like none of that.
Millie.
And you better, Millie,
Millie.
And you better act like you're a blue-collar worker, too. Even if you ain't grow up that way, you better say your parents was in a steel factory. You better.
Bring a hard lunch pail.
You bring a hard lunch pail, and boy, I tell you, listen. I like my team to represent the people in the field and the values. Ain't no receiver coming here. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now.
Play with a welder's mask.
If y'all don't draft it, you think when Malik Neighbors was like, man, boy, let me tell you about this. Ain't nobody coming here. The last guy we let beat themselves is Webster Slaughter.
Now, are you saying they won't come to Cleveland because of the football team, or you think it's the town?
Also both. It's the weather.
The culture.
It's the culture.
Weather,
the football
it's the
team.
history.
It's the history.
And how do we get over that hump? By the way,
because here's the problem. We had a chance because not long ago, 2 top-flight receivers said, "Yeah, I'll go to Cleveland." Odell signed up for it, and so did Jarvis Landry.
Well,
and
they
though
both
they
got
had
traded.
1,000-yard seasons, but they weren't going to get traded unless, like in Odell's case, I think he would have said, I'm not coming to Cleveland.
Yeah.
He wanted to be here because Landry was already here. They both had 1,000-yard seasons, but both of their experiences here ended poorly.
Terrible.
And you're right. That group is like the quarterbacks were. Do you remember the quarterback club in the 80s? Bernie just walked in. He'll remember
They had
this.
a video game.
They all clicked together, and they basically said, you know what? We're going to have our own NFLPA pool, the quarterback club.
Yep.
Dan Marino, Boomer
yeah.
Esiason. I think Bernie was in it.
Jim Kelly.
And then Jim Kelly. And it caused some division in the league because everybody else was like, whoa, bro.
They're getting
can't we all
cash,
eat?
yeah.
And I think with the wide receivers today, you're right. That is a tight-knit clique, and they talk.
Brandon Ayuk was like, absolutely not. Why? Listen, we got guys that if you say you open, they going to be, don't you dare say you was open. You shut your mouth and you watch these fullbacks get the football.
And apparently our receivers' fathers love to mark up plays and tweet out that my son is always open.
Hey, listen, fathers is telling their sons, I can't even be on Twitter no more. What kind of world is this? Hell no, you ain't going to the Browns. You go anywhere
I don't
else.
think some of these things are unique to Cleveland. I think they're any team that's been a bad franchise.
Would you give them this? It's probably the worst collective bunch of wide receivers in the history of the NFL have played for the Cleveland Browns. Like when you look at our all-time great seasons.
Certainly, I can't find one clearly worse.
I mean,
the Bears have a pretty bad history of wide receiver.
They do.
Even when the Bengals receivers is upset, they still show up. Like, right? They still like, Cincinnati ain't too bad. You got somebody throwing them around.
And part of that is just, even when the Bengals have been bad, it's usually been their defense has been bad. So the Bengals have had obviously much better quarterbacks than the Browns have had over the years since Bernie and Boomer, right? At that time, you had Bernie and Boomer both really good. But since then, the Browns have had nobody since Bernie. And the Bengals have had some
Carson Palmer.
Look at who
they
even
have
Andy
now,
Dalton was better than any quarterback the Browns have had.
So, yeah.
And then certainly Burrow. So that's part of it. And
I don't think.
But there is a stigma.
There is a
and
stigma.
I'm sure league-wide they talk. And I'm sure when they're making their list, let's just say Cleveland's not in the top half.
And by the way, it gets even pettier than this. LeBron James said this. I mean, what goes with orange and brown? Like, there are receivers who are that petty. Like, I don't even like the colors.
The only way to the only way to
fact.
change it is for the Browns to draft a wide receiver like Malik Neighbors, like Jamar Chase, and have that guy embrace the city and blah blah,
and throw him the ball every play.
And until that happens, it's going to be hard.
You gotta, it's so difficult too to find guys that play that position that don't have that, and not to say that they're selfish players, but there is a certain ego to it.
No,
that's
they say
it.
the diva thing.
Chris Carter
it's
told
sort
me,
of cliche.
He said that. I said, why do they have that reputation? He goes, because that's who we are.
Yeah,
that's exactly who we are. We think we're open on every play.
Right.
We think that we're the most important player on the team. This is Chris Carter.
Yeah.
And he readily admitted it. He said that we're a group of divas.
There are personalities. Everybody's done disc analysis where you go into a job and they say whether you're interpersonal, you're an introvert, you're an extrovert. Everybody else has these, a personality and characteristic traits that you need to know who you're dealing with. If I'm dealing with Adam Bull, he's over the top. He's a very dominant guy. Like, he's a guy that's going to speak loud. He's going to say how you feel. If I was an introvert and you were on the show, you would come away wanting to cry because you're like, he called me an idiot. Jay has this way of saying things really sly, and it'll make you feel stupid if you think about it. You're like, did he just sneak this me? He just sneak this me. Like, McNuggets be sliding these little rizzes in, and so everybody got a different personality type. So you got to know them.
Sneak this.
Receivers. That is what the reason they are good is because they believe that. Just the same way the quarterback has to believe that he is different. And he's responsible for all of the other people, right?
I think,
but there are receivers out there that are not quite to that
level.
Sure.
Well, I think Amari Cooper is in that bunch.
Yeah, I do think Amari's like that. But my point is, like, can we just find our own Marvin Harrison, like someone who's just going to be sort of nondescript, show up, grind, compete, all those things, and not embrace the team, the organization. They're tough to find, obviously.
You got to draft that guy.
Well, they got one at Ohio State right now.
That's all, dude. Jeremiah.
You got one at Ohio State.
Jeremiah.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Wait. I keep saying the kid needs to be in the Heisman conversation, but the ball that the freshman at Alabama caught.
And then his
I've
Matrix
never
move?
in my life. That was Matrix next level stuff.
Dude.
Bro,
that spin, that was like Braxton Miller's
in
spin.
midair. and was backwards, and the defensive backs crashed into each other, and he's practiced that a lot. Never lost a step or momentum.
Bro.
Spun and ran in for a touchdown. It's the best run I've ever
playing
seen.
Madden and like a glitch happened.
It was
a glitch.
You rage quit if somebody do that on you. You quit. By the way, NIL done turned.
There's no friendly quit. Just shut off the system.
Rip the cord out. That NIL done turned these young dudes into monsters.
Oh my God.
Like these young dudes was like, oh no, 16, 15. Oh, I ain't playing no video games. I'm over here. I'm training with a trainer, and I'm eating right because I'm about to get
and they've got $1 million in the bank, so they're like, okay, massage today. Okay, great. Okay, tomorrow, cold plunge, all that stuff.
This?
Yeah, of course.
You saw it, Bull?
The play?
Alabama kid.
Did you see this?
Of course.
Watch this play.
This is a run that you cannot describe how he did it.
Bam! See you later.
That's
Never seen that in my life.
That's against Georgia.
By the way,
They were down, and that was the game-winning touchdown.
It was the game-winning touchdown.
That was the game-winning touchdown.
So he's had that in his hip pocket forever. By the way,
kid's 17.
He's 17 years old.
17 years old.
Oh,
He
really?
is 17. He should be playing high school football right now.
To your point, G, my nephew is a sophomore in high school. Very good baseball player. I don't think he's good enough to play professionally.
Right.
But he's good enough to play in college.
Sure.
And, who knows? Maybe he'll end up being good enough to play professionally. I don't know. But he works out. This kid was he was lazy. He would do nothing. He would just play video games all day. Now, all he eats is chicken. That's the only thing he eats.
Wow.
Chicken and vegetables. And he works out
chicken thighs?
not chicken thighs, no, because he can't eat dark meat. He only eats white meat chicken. My sister makes him a special chicken every day, and he works out like 3 times a day. He's either playing baseball, working out, or with his girlfriend. That's it.
That's how you make it. That's it.
And he is talking to Bernie Kosar about his health.
He should.
Every evening.
Before we bring Bernie in, just to wrap this up, all on board. We are all on the same page. Don't trade Cooper. Davante, not a realistic entity for the Browns.
You didn't comment on it.
I did
Davante, not realistic.
Not realistic.
Not realistic. Not happening.
Oh, I didn't give that part.
Yeah.
He didn't even give it no second thought. He's like, I'm
Just
not going
wanted
to
to put
answer.
a bow on that.
No,
all right,
I'm
guys,
not-
let's
Put a
get
bow,
Bernie
put a
in
bow.
here. We're going to talk some Guardians later in the show if you want. Even more Guardians talk twice a week.
Bernie.
What's up, Bernie?
And even more during the postseason. The Ultimate Guardian Show will be on our YouTube page. Bull and Zach do a great job breaking down the games.
To
Bull,
that
you
point,
have-
Mike,
Yeah,
let me
your
just say that
post-game
we will
shows.
be on. We'll have a show Friday morning at 9 to preview the Guardian series against either the Tigers or Astros, and then we know for sure the Guardians are playing. What is it? 1:30 on Monday on Saturday.
108.
108 and
108.
408, or
So
4 o'clock on Monday, which stinks because I
yeah.
have tickets and I have to work.
So Zach and I will be doing. So the Guardians game probably ends around 4 on Saturday. We'll probably come on sometime between 6 and 7. We'll let you know. Stay tuned for the alert on YouTube, but we will do a show a couple hours after the game, after Zach does his post-game interviews and stuff like that. So after every postseason game.
Bernie, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, guys.
Good to see you, man.
I'm in the timeout chair here.
Yeah, you got him, R.
Put his
Bernie, are
dunce
you locked into
cap
the
on?
Guardians?
I
Because
am
they're more excited
Look at
than
his
the
shirt.
Browns right now.
I am absolutely got the
There it is.
land
I
on.
like
I'm
it.
ready for the Guardians playoffs.
Right.
Actually, tonight, ready for a little Messi in town.
Oh, wow, I
We're
didn't
gonna
realize.
Columbus
Is
Crew.
it a friendly one tonight? Is it? Who's he play for? Miami?
Inter Miami's
That's
coming
right,
to Columbus
coming to Columbus.
tonight.
Really?
Messi.
Play the
Big
Cruise.
soccer
It's a
guy.
regular season game?
A regular season game. 2 best teams in the MLS.
Yeah.
Wow.
Inter Miami
That's gonna be
and
packed
Columbus
down
Crew.
there. That's gonna be packed.
Yes. So
And those are
He's
your
on top of
teams. Like, I
everything.
mean, those are your cities, Cleveland
Yeah.
and Miami.
Cities with the Columbus Crew, part of our Cleveland Browns, and then part of the University of Miami, who we had a miracle ending in our game on
Yes, you did.
Hey.
Friday night.
And
The
a little too
owner
close
is-
for comfort there, Burn.
I gotta ask you, that Cam Ward kid.
Oh, he's a beast.
He's a
Cam Ward is special.
I like
God,
him.
yeah.
Actually, not to make this about me, though, the 40-year anniversary of the Hail Flutie Pass is
right.
coming up, and I now know how the reverse of it feels for Virginia Tech. I mean, that was gut-wrenching
Yeah.
for them. If it was fortunately so late that most people didn't see the ending of it, but that was a tough.
It was
one.
incredible.
A tough one for Virginia
That
Tech.
looked like a certain L for your boys.
It was the right call, by the way. They got the call right.
I'm biased, but
No,
I absolutely
I agree. I think they did get the call.
They got
right.
the call right.
Unlike
yeah.
the Michigan offsides on the onside kick, they got that wrong. And now they've changed the onside kick rules in the Big Ten. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
I didn't see that.
How about this? The play's reviewable.
It should be.
I mean, the play should be reviewable.
Yeah.
They clearly missed it.
Yeah.
By the way, there should be no talk about Heisman yet. Ohio State has not played anybody yet.
Feels like
No,
the season
but
hasn't
you know,
started yet.
Bull.
Yeah.
That's what the media does. Well, you know what's crazy to me? And we got kind of caught up in it a little bit. Maybe it wasn't this group, but I had a group of friends yesterday sending me a mock draft with who the Browns are taking in the mock draft at quarterback. And I'm like, do you know how many assumptions are being made here?
Yeah.
Where are the Browns going to finish? What pick are they going to have?
What pick did they pick for us?
They had Sanders, Deion's kid, at quarterback.
Shador?
And,
So would they have us with a top 3 pick?
And the Alabama quarterback.
Did they have the spot the Browns are picking?
Well, I mean, think
though?
about it. These are the widely regarded as the top 2 quarterbacks.
Quinn Ewers and
is
Shador?
a top 5, if not a top 1
And he'll
pick.
end up being a top 5 pick for sure because of all the stuff that goes around him. But I'll say this. You're assuming that the Browns are going to finish with the 3rd or 5th worst record in the NFL already after 4 weeks? And
I think that's too extreme.
It's extreme, but it's trending.
not
It's
impossible.
trending that
It's
way.
not
listen, you know why? The reason people do these is because people click on them.
That's right.
Like we can't not
Guys,
take debate.
we're talking about it right now.
Yeah,
I know we
slightly.
are,
Do you
and
think
it's absurd.
So
I'm
that's
talking
why
about it
they
because
do
I'm
it.
saying it's absurd.
Bernie, how do you think Shador Sanders is going to translate to the NFL?
So having nothing to do with the Browns and where we should pick or do, Shador Sanders and Cam Ward, not because I'm a University of Miami guy, and not because of the kind of the PR around Sanders and prime time and all that. Those 2 quarterbacks are special. They have such patience and composure and kind of coolness in the pocket, and besides their amazing athleticism, the way they're keeping their eyes downfield, the way they're reading defenses, the way they're making throws, both of them are going to be
Those
special.
are NFL qualities.
Those are top 5, if not top 1 and 2 picks.
Now, Shador Sanders and the talk around Shador Sanders, how does that mesh in Cleveland, Ohio? That is another lightning rod.
Well, you didn't think
They're not drafting.
You didn't think
Even
it
if
would
they're in
work.
position to
Right.
draft him,
Look,
they're not drafting.
Are
Bro.
you serious?
Bro, if
They can't.
he can make it work in Boulder, he can make it work in Cleveland.
Different though.
It's different here.
We have a history.
We
Deion come with him.
Well, what do you think? He took him to Division
Well,
One.
I actually think right now, though, for our season, and 1 and 3 teams have a 14% chance of making the playoffs. I want to be way more positive on our team here, and I don't see any scenario where we're picking in the top 2 to 5.
I don't
Let's
either.
hope you're right.
I don't. Look, they may miss the playoffs. They may be under 500. But they're not winning 3 or 4 games, and that's where you have to be in that top 5 class.
Exactly.
Well, you sort of want to be there, though. You either want to be really good or you want to be really bad. You don't want to be in purgatory.
You know what?
If that's the case, though, could I not show up for the rest of the season here?
I'm
going to suck, but please,
Justin,
spare me the
to
pain.
your point, like
that's how you get better.
That's kind of been the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Like the Steelers are on the low end of the teams that make the playoffs. They don't win playoff games, so they're picking in that, middle to lower range.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get that player you need to put you over the hump if you're making the playoffs, but you're picking 18th.
Dude, we can't be the Bengals of Andy Dalton. We can't be the Tennessee Titans that 8-8
Well,
BS.
You either want to be
Well,
really good or really bad.
I'm going to ask you.
It's becoming like the NBA.
It is becoming like the NBA.
How
You're right.
How did you think? How do you think Deshaun played against the Raiders?
So the short answer is I think he played fantastic. And that's actually why I'm a little concerned right now, because the quarterback to play at a really good level with multiple jailbreaks going on through the course of the game and an inability still to
Say jailbreak, you meaning a lot of pass rush.
pass
right?
rush and stuff.
He was under it all day.
all
absolutely.
day duress, and for him to really carry the show from just an execution of the given plays, he did really good with that.
So, Bernie, are you saying that because he played at the high end of his potential? He played really well. We were playing against a bad team without their best offensive player and best defensive player, and he still wasn't enough? Is that why there's concern?
Well, I think what we talked about last week here, I just think the system of being spread and throwing the ball and AKA almost 2-minute offenses, albeit Deshaun showed he's good at that in Houston, and he showed he still has that capability to take hits, stand in there, and make throws with it. We aren't set up to do that.
We're not built that way.
We are not, and it showed again that we don't we really need to quickly establish our personality and who we are. And we said at the end of our little segment last week that it's a time to see like who we are going to show up from a play calling and scheme and personnel side of it. And being spread right now, we're just not set up for that. So going to Washington with the same type of game plan that we've had against the other NFC East teams, I think it's a tough recipe for us to try to come up with a W doing it that way.
And especially, I mean, they're playing the best of any team in that division, right? Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Jaden Daniels looked amazing.
I was just talking, did something this morning with Ken Harvey down there in Washington, and some of the things that Jaden Daniels has done in his first 4 games of his career.
Never been done.
I mean, 82.1% completion percentage, 85% in the last 2 weeks. I'm the only quarterback to put a 4-game stretch of north of 82% in the first 4 games of the year. Is Tom Brady in 2007, and he was 7 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
This is a rookie with athleticism and skill of throwing, coupled with a kind of the hidden, I think, big thing for them is Cliff Kingsbury. By him getting whacked in Phoenix and this kind of being his kind of comeback.
And his prove-it job.
He's proving it, and now he's massively creative with plays that really facilitate Jaden Daniels getting into the game. And with the way he's running the ball and making plays, they have the confidence and belief in themselves that I wish we had.
Bernie, we talked about the offensive line and how bad they've been, especially on the right side, and especially DeJuan Jones. He was tremendous as a rookie. He was a big surprise. And we know how big a guy he is. He's put on even more weight. He looks very out of shape. And he's very slow right now. How concerned are you about his ability to hold up there?
So I watched the Monday night game of the Dolphins, Tennessee, and you watch the Callahans and the zone running game and the personnel groups and the tight ends and backs and working in unison with the kind of belly game and spread run game that they're doing. And actually, we're crying for that here in Cleveland in terms of having guys have help around them. And when he's on an island like that, he's massively struggling right now and getting exposed, but just not him. And what I think made him successful and made the line successful and really masked the issues within there was the way they were working in unison in the running game with kind of helpers around them, having tight ends and backs around you to, again, on TV, not say it inappropriately, but really smack, hit, and chip and wipe out the other guys. There's none of that. So the defense isn't nervous
at all
that they're going to get whammed, blocked, cracked, snapped, cheap blocked. Okay.
In your view, how did this pivot take place in the organization? The pivot from exactly what you talked about and what we saw was successful last year to this new all-in on this spread when you're not built that way. How does that happen in an organization where you're making a distinct pivot like that and the skill set needed for that pivot isn't there? Did that come from Stefanski? Did that come from Jimmy Haslam? Did that come from Paul DePodesta? What's your view on that?
So I'm not sure where it comes from, but I know myself at the end of my career, I kind of made mistakes where I thought I had to be the spread quarterback. I thought I had to be in shotgun. It was cool. It's fun. You know, it's fun when you 4 guys can't get to me. Okay, it's fun to be the quarterback then and spread. But really, that was the beginning of in the early 90s where it showed you just can't do that all the time. And if you do it all the time, they start gearing towards it. So really, I think it's partly in the off season. You know, this started materializing. And when you started, again, I love receivers. I mean, as I was walking in today, you guys were joking about Webster Slaughter and stuff. I mean, I love adding offensive weapons. I like that the Amari Cooper trade didn't happen. I like that they added Jerry Jeudy. I like that Elijah Moore stayed. Despite Cedric Tillman dropping the ball, okay? At the end of the Giants game, I really like the way he's trying to use his hands and growing as a tall receiver. All that being said, I don't believe we're really set up to use all of those guys. And when you think you're a spread team, and then you get the receivers around you, then instead of 2-3 years ago having the 3-4 tight ends on the team, 5 tight ends on the team, now we had 2, but we had 6-7 type receivers. That kind of took away from the ability to do what I think we want to do right now.
Bernie, I want your expertise on this because you played the position at such a high level. People are asking, why can't the Browns script more than the first drive, the first quarter? Because they have so much success early in games. And I don't really have a great answer. I didn't play the position. You did. Why is it so successful, and why can't they do it the entire game?
Okay. As I look at this camera angle, I feel like we're putting the band back together from your guys' early days together. Okay, so I'm having a little reflective deja vu moments and stuff. But the scripting of the initial set of plays and then not being able to continue forward with them, I spend a lot of time at my game plans at the beginning of games. I didn't necessarily like scripted plays, but I did have good concepts of what the first dozen or so plays are going to be. And I was good, and I believe good systems are good at kind of manipulating flaws within your statistical breakdowns and stuff. That being said, I used to say, like, people are like, well, you didn't make adjustments. And when you're sometimes not as good as the teams you're playing, and that's kind of a shocker, is our O-line and our front isn't as good now as who we're playing. And you ultimately can't trick people for the whole game. So I think, I'm not saying we're tricking people in the first drive or two, but we have a statistical advantage and we're putting gooder
Why
plays.
don't we just stay with that then?
But
because
ultimately they start seeing it and they make adjustments and they kind of
So it's more they're adjusting to what we did.
I believe that they're adjusting to it, and then all of a sudden you got to start now playing the plays and seeing what you stand for and actually executing to their adjustments.
Bernie, I want your offensive expertise on this. You know, I'm just a little old D lineman, played in the MAC.
I still get the shakes around you.
Nothing little about you, Jim.
Sometimes when I watch not the results of the play, I'm talking about the concepts of, oh, wow, I like how they double team that guy to the next level. I like how they influence trapped him, or I like how they ran zone on this play or misdirection. I don't see it like in the run game. And I think it's a lot of it in the run game, and people assume you just run it and things happen. But you do need some creativity. You do need some innovation when it comes to running the football. And when you watch this offense, right, do you see it and say, wow, this is innovative, or wow, I kind of like this they're scheming people up, or is it kind of basic? Because I come away looking at it and basic is not bad, but when you have the talent disparity that you're talking about, sometimes you can't afford to be basic because you don't have the horses to say, I'm going to just line up and punch you in the mouth or line up and run past you.
I love where you're at right there. So I could get too long-winded here, so just cut me off when you've had enough of this, okay? You're spot on here. And what we were, and it's the brain power is there to be creative and understand those different running plays in multiple personnel groups with different personnel groups, motions and shifts. And again, this sounds bad on TV. Hopefully most kids are at school and stuff not hearing this. But chopping, okay, cutting, wham blocking is essential within that stuff. Okay, that being said, what we're just talking about in the spread offenses, you almost are condensed in the running game to simplicity. So that you don't have the extra backs, the tight ends in there to actually allow yourself to do the creativity part of that with guys that actually will hurt people and they could physically move them off. So just like we said, when you have 4 or 5 tight ends on your roster, it's easy to go 13 personnel with a back and 3 tight ends. But we only have 2 tight ends and one's hurt. And now all of a sudden you got 2 street tight ends that weren't even part of your OTAs, minicamp or training camp 2 weeks ago. That makes it exponentially more challenging. So that's where you also got to kind of implement your personnel groups of who you're going to start bringing and making more active. Because I know we feel terrible right now at 1-3 and almost a quarter of the season's over with. But we actually felt horrible this time last year post the Steelers game, and we thought the season was over. So we morphed a little bit in the offense. Then we need to really start, I think, morphing. Yes, from the play calling and scheme of it, but more so in the personnel groups and getting some guys maybe on the practice squad to be ready to go in a few weeks to add to that stuff so that you could, again, bang people around, because it's hard to do that in the spread shotgun.
Mike, I know we have to go, but I have to get 60 seconds on this because it's a big topic amongst fans, and you have personal knowledge here. Ken Dorsey is in the wings. Kevin Stefanski has, I thought, bungled the use of the timeout late in the game that cost the Browns an opportunity to perhaps at least touch the ball again. Some fans are already saying we've seen enough of Stefanski's play calling. Where are you on that? Is it time to give Ken Dorsey a chance? He's the offensive coordinator. Is it time that we see something different?
So I don't see it as much a play calling issue as what we're doing today. Hey, today's Wednesday. Okay, it's almost 12 o'clock right now. The regular 1st and 10, 2nd and 7+ game plan was installed by almost all NFL teams today at their 9 o'clock meetings, post their 8 o'clock quarterback meetings. So that type of work really needs to be done today and tomorrow of what are the plays and personnel groups that are available to me. So if I only have 2 tight ends active on Sunday, that limits the stuff you could actually.
So it's a no on the changing play
Yeah, so
callers.
to me, I think that they are working together.
Okay.
And it's more important like today and tomorrow to nail down, this is who I am. These are the plays I'm running. Okay, I don't care that the fans are going to yell at me because I go 13 personnel and I have all 4 of you guys as tight ends and running backs.
So you're saying
you are who you are.
You are.
You have to
Be
recognize
who you
that.
are.
You revert back to what he does best.
What he does best.
got him
and
to
I
the dance.
believe, even though, look I didn't think at the end of my career I did that best, and then I ended up retiring and getting killed. I'm not saying that Shaun is in that space of it yet, but he's taking an inordinate amount of hits. And I'd love to maybe counsel him a little bit that this is actually what would be best for him, best for the team, okay, and actually would help his game, because when he has a little bit of time, he's figuring out what to do. He just has no time right now. And these extra creativity in the running game with creativity on some personnel groups, actually I believe would increase Deshaun's playmaking ability and confidence. Not just him, the whole team.
Yeah, sure, it spreads. All right, Bernie, thanks.
Thanks,
We
Bernie.
appreciate it.
Sounds good, guys.
Great stuff. Great
Pleasure
stuff.
as
Mike,
always.
United.
That was Bernie Kosar, the legendary Browns quarterback. We're going to get Bernie out. Talk a little Nick Chubb, who returned to the practice field today after a quick message from FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get in the hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. It's a big day over in Berea. Nick Chubb is returning to the practice field, as is Nyheim Hines and Michael Dunn. They have also been activated off the PUP list, but Chubb is the main attraction of the 3 players coming back. It doesn't mean he'll play Sunday. It means they have to activate him within 21 days from today. So, guys, I know we don't know when Nick Chubb will play, but a struggling offense that we've seen through 4 weeks. Is it fair to put the expectations on Nick Chubb coming back from injury that he could be the savior?
Before
that
we
he
do,
single-handedly can save that?
Just a clarification, Mike. They haven't been activated off the PUP list. They've opened their window to practice.
Yeah, that's different. PUP and
Right.
IR are different.
Oh, my bad.
Well, they haven't been
activated
because if they had been activated, you'd have to cut guys.
Yes,
No,
you
you're
would.
right. Sorry.
Yeah.
So they're not activated
It's different.
just
It's
yet.
a different distinction on the PUP list than the
Yeah.
IR.
But
They're
go ahead,
activated
guys.
off PUP, but they're not activated to the active
Yes.
roster.
Yes.
That's the official wording.
But they still have 3 weeks.
21
Yes,
days.
up to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would take all those 3 weeks. I'd take the whole time, get them acclimated, get them feeling good, maybe get a couple bumps here or there. It's unfair. Being through multiple ACLs, I think we did a bad job of underselling what it is the man is going through. He's torn every ligament. Even when you have an ACL, and we could watch this right here, and I could watch just by watching this, as you can see, one of his legs does not even have 0 degree right there, Jay. Yeah. You can see one has more flexion, the other one does not.
And by the way, it's going to be that way the rest of his life.
They try to get you to 0.
And it only gets worse, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
They try to get you back to 0, but you lose a lot of stuff in that knee. Still some swelling, still some different things. So I think it's completely unfair to think that Nick Chubb's going to come back and save the season. And that shouldn't even be a thing. He should be able to come back, and they should be saying, we got enough infrastructure to work you in slowly and have you playing decent at the end of the season.
Let me ask you this. And this is a possibility. They go 0-3 the next 3 weeks, and you're 1-6. What do you do?
Well, he's
tied to incentives.
He's going to want to play.
He's going to want to play.
He's going to want to play, but do you play him?
Sure.
He doesn't have a contract next year anyway. You got to play. Yeah.
Sure. You play him. You want, and if Nick Chubb's thinking 2 years ahead of it anyway. He's not thinking about this. Not honestly this year. He's like, next year is when I come back. I want to come back, finish the season healthy, get back to training and being something, because Nick Chubb already knows that in his mind he already thinks that people are saying, oh, this is it for him. He wants to come back and improve. I'm still Nick Chubb, and I'm still one of the best backs in the league. So he's thinking of this incrementally, and so that's what he should be thinking about. But I think I'd just be happy to see him on the field, man.
So to answer the question, yes, he can. I think he can.
Wow.
Secondly, is it fair? No. Yeah. It's not fair to put this much pressure on Nick Chubb. However, the offense needs a spark. And really, I think because they've had such a lack of running game, that when Nick Chubb comes back, you're going to – it may not be vintage Nick Chubb, but it's going to be so much better than we've seen so far with just this by committee of running backs, that I do think he can bring some sort of whatever you would call it, like semblance, like just getting the offense back to – being able to score more than in just the first quarter. Like, they've got to find ways to set up the pass. Like, if you're a defensive coordinator, you're not worried about the run with the Browns. You're not. No. Why would you worry?
I'm not worried about the run. The pass. No, I'm not worried about it.
But like, if you get Nick Chubb back, all of a sudden teams start stacking the box. You're going to see other players make plays.
What would be would you have any limitations carry-wise or snap-wise for him?
Why? The guy's squatting 700 pounds. I mean, I wouldn't be concerned about. I mean, if the doctors say clear, good to go, you're all in. I mean, I would say to the doctors, if I'm Stefanski and Barry and these guys, like, okay, is there a limit on what we can do? Should we sort of bring him along slower than we thought we should?
Right.
And if they're like, no, full go, full speed ahead. I think
I'm kind of with Dustin on this. Obviously it's completely unfair to expect him to save the offense.
Yes.
But it's not crazy to think he could, because he's Nick freaking Chubb. And I understand what you say. You're right. It's a devastating knee injury. It's only been 12 months. Most guys, when they do come back, are not the same player. We've only seen Adrian Peterson really in recent years come back and look like the exact same guy.
Better than the same guy.
That's true. He had his best year, I think, after that.
It was amazing.
But Chubb did go through this in college.
Right.
He's
older
like 3?
But he's
older now. But
look
at plenty of great football.
Mike, can you bring up the pictures of Nick Chubb working out in training camp this season?
Like the video,
the close-ups of his knee.
No, just these pictures. Look at his body compared to most running backs.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I don't know if fans realize that most running backs don't look like that.
No.
Maybe Derrick Henry, that's about it. This guy is built like a tank. And I understand, no matter how big and strong you are, your knee's your knee. If you can't. But I agree with Dustin. Like, if the doctors say, well, you can only give him 6-8 carries the first couple of weeks, then fine, I'm going to listen to the doctor.
Sure.
But if the doctor says he's not more likely to get hurt with 20 carries than 10, then I'm just going to give him 20 carries.
If he's not on a pitch count, then let him go.
Right, because the guy is a superstar. Now, I still think it's impossible to expect him to even be 100% of what he was. let alone better like Adrian Peterson. But 75% of Nick Chubb is way better than what you got.
It's better than most in the league.
It's better than, all but a few guys in the league. Yeah. So I think he's going to make a huge difference. And like you said, because there's no threat in the run game right now, even if Nick Chubb is not himself initially, if you're, let's say, in week 6, you're the Philadelphia Eagles, and you see Nick Chubb's on the other side. It doesn't matter that he's coming off a knee injury. The Eagles are thinking, that's Nick Chubb. He's dangerous. We got to worry about him, whether he's the same guy or not.
You can't tee off on Deshaun Watson on every play.
I'll say this. There is a way it could work, and it's the way Bernie said. If Kevin Stefanski goes into the office and he has the quarterback, he has Dorsey, he got the people around and say, look, let's be clear. Nick Chubb was our best player. Let's be clear. We feel he's back. That means he's our best player again. We will run this offense the way we ran it with Nick Chubb. And we will get whatever we can get after that. But he has to have the heart and the cojones.
That's what Stefanski should do.
To say that.
Will he do that?
This the only way it will work. Bernie said it without saying it. Basically, hey, you need to go do what you do best. When you was doing what you
were doing, what's stopping him from doing that?
Well, that's a good question, and I asked Bernie that. And what do you? Who do you think that?
I don't know. I mean,
do you have a guess?
They changed it.
I'm sure it's Jimmy Haslam. That's what I think. However,
who has Jimmy's ear in the organization?
I guess Steve Podesta.
Depends on the day of the week.
But here's what I would say to that.
You're right.
Kevin Stefanski.
Steve Podesta is the lone survivor.
Stefanski just signed an extension. So what are they going to do? Fire him? If they do, he'll get paid for the next bunch of years, and there'll be plenty of teams willing to hire him.
Yeah, he'll have a second
act. He's got all the power.
I agree with you.
If I were
Kevin, is it in him to do that?
I don't know him well enough to know that.
He doesn't seem like this boisterous type A that's going to swing the doors open
and say,
boys, here's how we're going to go down.
You know what, though? And I thought that, too, and maybe that is the case. But I thought they were taking away his play calling. And he said, it's my play call. So I'm doing it. So if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I got the Browns by the balls. And I'm saying, I'm doing it my way. Your only choice is to fire me, or I'm out of here.
And Bull, isn't that like when you're in the seat that gets hot?
Yeah.
I've always felt this way.
Yeah.
You got to win and lose based on you.
Yeah.
Because when they come to fire you, if you did things the way they wanted and it didn't work out, they don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You have to go down with doing what you believe is right. And here's what I know. When Kevin Stefanski ran what he loves to run, the play action, the jumbo sets, they looked pretty damn good last year.
And the quarterback under center.
And he's done it with multiple different quarterbacks. So just trust what you believe in.
Yeah.
That's what the kind of team you have here in front of you. And I agree with you. Come in the office and say, guys, I'm not losing on your playbook. I'm not losing under your rules. I got rid of AVP. My offensive line coach is gone. Suddenly we think we're this spread offense when we've got the pieces that don't fit a spread offense. And we're going to run the ball and we're going to go jumbo, and here's how we're going to do it.
Here's the easy part about it. They got every lineman they have up front is banged up. Conklin, Wills, Batonio, and Poaches comes out every game. And so it's easier as a big man to do what? I'd rather go forward than backward.
And they've said as much, too. They've said, we like run block.
I can lean forward and put my hand in the dirt and come off the football. You know what I have problem with?
Kick slide.
Kick slide with Michael Parsons and guys blitzing every other place.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's give your offensive line a little advantage. Say, guys, my bad. We're going to give you an opportunity, DeJuan, to take the fight to somebody else. Lean on somebody with all that big weight.
That's right.
I got a tight end over here that'll help max protect when we do play action. But listen, we got you covered. You can win with that. But
chances we see the pivot.
If he was smart.
I mean, he is smart.
No, I know. Not if, because he is smart.
He's smart.
What are the chances that we'll actually turn on the TV Sunday and say, oh, I recognize this.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is what we did last year.
How many times do you have to lose before you understand that that's what it is?
I think we could see it, especially when Nick Chubb comes back. Hopefully that's not too late.
But he has to start. You can't morph in a week.
No, that's true.
Like another thing. Hey, give me You could be creative. Hey, them other teams is running jet sweeps. Hey, Kadarius Toney, you pretty fast. Can you run around the corner real quick?
He might fumble.
God, I'd like us to take that play out of our playbook for eternity.
It don't look
because
good.
when other teams do it, you're like, wow, that play is awesome. We need to do that. And when we do it, our guy loses 10 yards.
I mean, it is
Browns
Elijah
are
Moore.
slow.
It is Elijah Moore.
Tony's not slow.
No, Tony's not.
It's get some easy little plays, dust your screen package.
Did you
back
see what
off.
the Steelers did on Sunday? They went to Cordarrelle Patterson. And all of a sudden,
Yep.
they lose the game. But I mean, they had nothing going on offense. He's basically a receiver / kick returner, right? And they put him at running back, and all of a sudden he's getting 12 yards a pop.
Yep.
Change up.
It's a change up. It's a little something
When teams know what you're going to do, you're halfway to defeat. and right now, teams know what we're going to do. So we're at a huge disadvantage. All right, Shaun King's in the wings. He's going to tell us just how much improvement Deshaun Watson showed week to week. But first, you got to read.
We're going to do a Prize Pick read, then we're going to bring our friend Shaun King into the show. If you guys aren't using Prize Picks, you're missing out. It is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active users. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you get your money back in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even have to win to receive the bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. And with that, let's welcome in Shaun King to the program. How you doing today, Shaun?
I'm good, fellas. How are y'all?
We good,
Good, man. What's up, Shaun?
Can't wait to hear what you think about.
Let me apologize for the background. I got caught up in drop-off wars today. They need to have like a reality show. Parents trying to drop kids off, dropping kids off at school in the morning, man. It's a battle out here in these streets.
It's all good. As long as you're not sitting on the John, whatever background you have, we'll take.
Shaun, you got the bag, man. You ain't got the driver dropping them off at school?
Hey, man, nah, man. It's tough times out here, man. It's tough times.
It's tough in them streets. All right, how much improvement did we see from Deshaun Watson week to week?
So this is fascinating. This is fascinating film. And let me start here. 2 big picture things they have to get fixed offensively. First is line of scrimmage communication. There are multiple times in this game where if they just point the right guy out as the mic and the center slides the right way, they have enough to block what the Raiders are bringing. There's about 4 situations where they don't get that communicated, and it ends up being a pressure and a sack when it was unnecessary. Second thing, Kevin Stefanski has to really think about putting Deshaun under center more. Their shotgun play action stuff does not time up with the route concepts. Like they're running route. You remember Peyton Manning when he used to run the stretch way out, and it took time, and then he came out of it, and Marvin and Reggie were able to do downfield routes. They're running those kind of route schemes, but with that quick play action stuff from the gun, it's not timing up right.
That's a great point. One we've talked about here, Shaun. We've noticed that as well. You're right.
When you say pointing out the mic, for people that at home, is that on the center or is that on the quarterback?
So it varies from team to team. I got an inside source that I'm waiting on them to tell me who's responsible for it, because it's a lot of alleged communication going on, but none of the calls are getting answered. So I mean, it's really funny. Adding the fact that 79 is just terrible, and you get key mistakes and errors in crucial situations.
What makes
but
him
overall,
terrible?
He's bad at everything. He can't run block. He can't pass block. He doesn't play hard. I mean, he wasting a uniform out there right now.
Wow, very strong. But by the way, we've been saying the exact same thing. And by the way, he was a good player last year. He was a serviceable player. We don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
50 pounds.
You think it's 50?
Yeah, he looks overweight, and I mean, you know how I'm a big body language guy. When I coach, like I'm big on my guys about having great body language. We talked about it in my first episode with you guys about Deshaun. I think he's been much better in that category. He looks like he's getting more vocal on the sideline. I don't necessarily like the yelling while they're on the field, which I saw happen a couple times with the Raiders. That's more from frustration. but constructive dialogue on the sideline is needed. But I don't know, 79 need to get his stuff together. I mean, he's playing like Amari Cooper was the first couple weeks.
Wow.
Shaun, we were talking about Nick Chubb just a few minutes ago, and he's going to practice today for the first time since his injury a year ago against the Steelers. And we were talking about, what can you expect from Nick Chubb? Can he save this offense? And while it's unfair to expect him to save the offense, we think it's possible he could, even coming off this devastating injury, because the guy's been a superstar his whole career. What do you think? How big a difference can he make in that offense?
Huge. I mean, he's Adrian Peterson-like. I wouldn't be shocked if he comes. You remember when Adrian Peterson tore his ACL and came back like in 5 months or something crazy, and never. I think Chubb's will do the same thing. Here's what Chubb does: he makes Jerome Ford better, because now you can put Jerome Ford in situations to utilize that elite ability he has, which is speed. Teams have to be more focused on the box with Chubb because Chubb's able to run through the unblocked defender. Like, he just gives them something that they don't have and they drastically need. But even when Chubb comes back, I don't know if Deshaun does not want to go under center or if Stefanski just for some reason has stopped utilizing it, but they have to have some play action stuff from under center.
And Shaun, to that point, in the shotgun, the play action, even the run action stuff isn't dramatic. And when you run that play action, you can get those windows to throw the football, and it stops the rush a little bit. They're blitzing the heck out of us, but teams is a little cognizant when you're running that play action, and you talk about that Peyton Manning when they got the ball, and Deshaun has to be better with his play fakes as well. But you had that ball out there like this, all of a sudden you got some space to throw it. I don't know why Kevin doesn't mix that in a little more.
Yeah, I agree with you, and because it's glaring weakness. There are times, and shout out to Mike Lucas, the producer. He's been doing a great job with me breaking down some stuff. I paused one of the play actions, and I matched it up with where they were in the route, and I was like, "Hell, a little league safety and corner not biting on this. This is ridiculous," and it happens multiple times. So it's something that has to be fixed. But I do want to fast forward to the last play of the game. I don't know if you guys have been able to watch it.
Oh, yeah, we've seen it ad nauseum.
Deshaun Watson is kicking himself in the head.
Yeah, he had open guys.
That's the thing about him that kind of frustrates you is he makes some plays that really want to make you believe in him. And, I mean, this is a basic read. There is no safety in the middle of the field. And for some reason, some of this goes on Stefanski now. They sent Amari in motion, and they have the tight end running the corner route and Amari running the hitch. That's just backwards to me. If you're going to have to force a ball in the end zone, I think Amari should be the primary, but it's a misread by Deshaun, and I'm going to diagram it on film later. He's got Jerry Jeudy wide open, either Jeudy or Moore, wide open on a little inside vertical route to win the game.
And he just missed him. How do you explain it?
He never looked. He went left, and he didn't like to look to Akins, and then he kind of got he didn't really get forced out of the pocket as much as he just, faded left, and it ended up being, I think it was a sack. And to all Cleveland fans, that was a bogus call on the holding on the touchdown.
You didn't like the hold?
No, that was bogus.
Yeah, well, I certainly didn't think it was. We've seen much worse this year, not called.
You disagree, Dustin?
Oh, the holding call?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was holding, but I mean, it's
I did too.
You're allowed to interpret it however you want.
By frame, it looks like holding, but in that moment to throw the flag, when you've got 3 or 4 times a game, Myles Garrett is getting flat tackled, and there's no penalties.
I just feel like the guy was impeded to the point where he could have made a play.
Yeah, and that's why they threw the flag.
That's why
you saw the jersey tug.
If he were on the other side of the field, I don't think they throw the flag. But Shaun, I do want to ask you one question because you would know. You've been in these positions before. The Browns call timeout before the 4th down, and they had 3 left, right? And so it's 4th and 3. So basically, when you call timeout, they try to draw them offsides, which at that point in time is not worth the value of the timeout. I also look at it from a standpoint of, man, boy, did you sure up the ante on Deshaun and make it a lot more pressure on this play because the game is on the line. However, you don't get it. You got 3 timeouts. You still have a chance. Maybe it's unlikely. But like Stefanski using that timeout said, all of our eggs are in this basket. Shaun, when you played, in a situation like that, and they called the timeout, do you feel like, man, shit, I better make a play right now, excuse my language, or, I mean, the game is literally over?
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with the actual play call. I had an issue with where the primary receivers were for that particular call. And sometimes with motion, it can make it clear for the quarterback. Sometimes it can make it cloudy. The Raiders had a little trouble getting lined up. But again, like, your movements and your mind should match when you really understand a system. And there are a couple of times in the game, and I'm going to break it down, I still don't think Deshaun is really in tune with Stefanski and this system. Because, like, the last play of the game that you're talking about, Dustin, as a quarterback, when I really understand the system, if I'm going corner to hitch, my check down is coming back to the inside vertical route that's wide open. Like, so that's where my mind should be at, and my movements, my body should match my mind. And the fact that he went corner to panic lets me know that he's still not completely locked in into the, he still doesn't know it like the back of his hand yet.
Did you have a problem, Shaun, with Stefanski calling that timeout, though, before that? Because we were bothered by it because it didn't give him one last chance to get the ball back.
So sometimes, like, if you're not on the sideline, you don't have a feel for that. Sometimes, like, the guys are winded and need the time to you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there had been a drive. It had been, it was about 6-7 plays, I think, before they got down there. Don't hold me to that exact number. But am I mistaken?
No, something like that.
Something like that, sure. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes on the sideline, they can't come to a consensus on what they want to call. Again, I don't like the fact that Akins was running the corner route. Like, if you're going to throw a contested catch, when have we seen Akins make a contested catch? Obviously, that play is designed for Njoku probably, but Njoku's not playing. So it's just little things like that the Browns are kind of not completely got the screws tightened up. So I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I also think that they're close. They just got to get some small protocol things fixed.
Maybe you could shed some light on this. You know, you've been a coordinator, you've been a quarterback coach, you've been around offense your whole life. I'm confused by this. So last year they had Alex Van Pelt, right? The Browns win all these games. They've had Flacco and P.J. Walker. They make the playoffs. Kevin Stefanski gets Coach of the Year. Van Pelt gets fired. Van Pelt didn't call the plays. Stefanski called the plays. I was like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. Okay, so they fired him. I'm thinking they bringing in Dorsey, right? All right, bring Dorsey in. They want him to get more vertical, do some things to shine like. And then the week before the season starts, Stefanski says, I'm going to be calling plays. Dorsey's kind of like, I kind of didn't kind of know that. So when you are scheming it up and you talk about play design, right? Like, I want this receiver to be the primary target. The read is this. When I'm drawing it up and I'm doing it, doesn't it make more sense for you to say, I done drew it up. I know what the progression is. I dreamed it in my sleep. I seen it. I already know where I want to call it on the field. But then somebody else is taking your vision and trying to play it out during the game. Can you explain how that works to people who haven't done it at a high level like yourself?
Well, first of all, shout out to your post-game show. Of course, the Browns were here in Vegas, so we had a lot of Cleveland fans in the private lounge, and a whole bunch of them were actually listening to your post-game stream that you had going. So shout out to you, big dog.
Appreciate you, man.
That's actually sweet. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. Here's what it looks like. And I think this is one thing that we probably have not talked about enough as a subject pertaining to Deshaun. How can he truly know the system if it's not really a system? It's a mix and match thing between Dorsey and Stefanski. Last year was Alex Van Pelt. So in reality, this is his first year in this system. And he's playing like it. You know, it makes a lot of sense why his mind and his movements don't match a lot of the time. It makes sense now why he's late on some of these throws. There's an in cut to Judy. And I mean, good God Almighty, if he throws an accurate ball, Judy's about to come out the backside of this and go score for like a 70-yard touchdown. but he's just a little bit behind him. You know, it's just, you see those plays keep popping up, and it's difficult for the quarterback more so than it is for Stefanski and Dorsey. It's probably frustrating for Dorsey, to answer your question, but Stefanski thinks he's calling a good game. But what does Deshaun think? What are his expectations? Does he know what to perfect? Is he getting two different voices in his head? Dorsey's whispering this, Stefanski's actually calling this. Like, a lot of that could contribute, because there are a couple times, man, in this Raiders game, and it's happened multiple times, I don't know what Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper are doing.
Not on the same page?
Not on the same page. Yeah, Shaun, they got a couple times where two guys are running the same route. They're in the same damn place.
Shaun, did you have a preference when you played as to who called plays? Does it matter to you if it's the head coach or the offensive coordinator? And what should happen here in Cleveland? Should it be Dorsey or should it be Stefanski?
Well, for a quarterback, you want your yeses to be yes and your no's to be no. You just want consistency.
Right.
Like, who do we want to be, right? Like, what's our identity? How do you think we can best win football games? Let's build a plan around that, and let's become experts at what we're trying to do. Till we get to the point where I can kind of presume what you're thinking. I can anticipate what you're calling. It really matters when we go to the sideline. Can we have an educated discussion about what they're doing to prevent us from being successful? What do we have in our repertoire that we can use to make us be more successful? That's when the quarterback and the play caller are in sync. It's not just go to the side. Man, throw the damn ball. Man, get a ball to Amari. Man, where's Chubb? No, it's, hey, listen, they're playing trap corner on this, man. Next time we get in third and medium, I really think we can get this package for an explosive play. Hey, listen, that nose is in a tight shade, man. I think we can get him, you know, on a little gap scheme run, and we get downhill. Like, it's having educated conversations, but the quarterback and the play caller got to be experts to do that.
So you don't care who it is, but it's got to be definitive and it's got to be one person. Okay.
Yeah, great. Yeah, let your yes be yes, your no be no, Jay.
I like that a lot.
Great insight as always, Shaun, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, Shaun.
Video breakdowns.
Shaun, I forgot to tell you, man. I did Tulane's game on Saturday.
Hey, man, we rolled the Bulls, baby.
Yeah, man. The house you built, man.
I had a lot of help, Dustin. There are a lot of great guys on that team. You know, I don't like to, you know, be a standalone soldier, man. It take a whole army to have that kind of success.
That's shout out to Coach Shaun King right there.
Hey, you guys.
Shout out to Coach Sumrall, man.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. You guys played in the Dome when you were there, right?
Yeah,
their new stadium's awesome.
Our undergrad population was 11,000, and we played in a 72,000 seat stadium. I mean, make it make sense.
Hey, and you run undefeated as your senior year.
And
that's right. We did.
And you was the first mobile quarterback on the game with like an 80 speed. I'm like, they got this dude down in Tulane on the video game and speed like 80 plus. I'm like, this is crazy.
Big dog, I was the first rookie quarterback to start and win a playoff game. And so when y'all bump into Michael Vick, I'm trying to figure out how in the hell is Jamie Foxx in this black quarterback reality show, and I'm not. I got a bone to pick.
Hey, talk to him. Hey, listen, holler at your boy. Hey, edit me in. I need to be in the edit. What are you talking about? I'm one of the first mobile quarterbacks.
The OG. I was there, Shaun. I remember it. It was a hell of a run, man.
Hey, man, shout out to you guys. Hey, man, shout out to the Cleveland fan base, man. They came to Vegas. They showed up.
Yeah, they did.
I know they were disappointed they didn't get a win, but, hey, man, hell of a support system y'all got there.
Yeah. You're an adopted
Thanks,
Clevelander now.
Thanks,
Shaun.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk next week.
Awesome. That's Shaun King.
Next level
we'll
breakdown.
do our film breakdown. We ran the whole thing on the WKYC show on Friday. It was really, really good. We're going to do that again today at 1:30. We'll post it on social media. And then on Friday, you can check it all out on the WKYC show. We're going to talk Guardians in one sec, but we were at Cavs Media Day. We got the interviews we were promised. They just weren't live like we were promised. So if you head over to our YouTube page, you can find our one-on-one interviews with Kenny Atkinson, with Kobe Altman, and Tristan Thompson. They're on our YouTube page right now. So you can check them out whenever you guys want. They're on our YouTube page. Go enjoy. Let's talk a little Guardians, guys. We were going to do playoff X Factors yesterday. And then we got to the Guardians topic, and next thing you know, the Guardians topic was over. And no one mentioned an X Factor except Tyvis. So, Bull, because you dropped the ball on this yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll start with you. Who is your, it can't be a superstar, who's your X Factor in the playoffs for these Cleveland Guardians?
Well, I'll start with the first round that they're going to play. And at this point, I'll assume they're going to play the Tigers, although certainly the Astros could come back. But since they've gone to this format, the teams that won the first game are 8-0, so I'll say the Tigers win the series. My X factor is going to be Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas has been, after a terrible first month here, everybody wanted to run him out of town. He was great. And those numbers obviously overall don't look good, but he was great in September.
Look at his September numbers.
Yeah,
he was the best. He was the hottest hitter.
I think he had all 7 of those home runs in September, at least 6 of them, and most of those 23 ribbies. Plus, what is he best known for? Crushing lefties.
Yeah.
What is Tarek Skubal? A lefty. So, with Jose Ramirez, hopefully Steven Kwan, Naylor, you're going to trust these guys because they're your best players. But there's some other guys that you're going to need to contribute. And if you're going to have, against the Tigers, you're going to need to hit. They got a lot of lefty pitchers. They run out a couple of lefty bullpenners. You saw Tyler Holton yesterday. You saw Will Vest yesterday. They both pitched great. You're going to have a guy, besides your top guys, that can hit lefties. That's the guy. That's their best chance. And I think he's a big X factor in their first-round series.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Against the Tigers.
I'm with you.
And by the way, if you face the Astros, their best pitcher is also a lefty, Framber Valdez.
Yeah,
so.
But the reason I went with Lane Thomas, definitely for the Skubal piece of it, for the lefties, but also in the playoffs, it's so important that you can run. And Lane Thomas can run.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a legitimate base-stealing threat. He runs the bases well. I wanted to go with Manzardo, but I don't know what we're going to see with Manzardo in terms of pitching matchups.
He was my second choice.
Yeah, he's my second choice too. It was between Thomas and Manzardo. I really think I was watching. I can't remember which of the games it was. One of the broadcast crews, I think it might have been Detroit, talked about the importance of the bottom of the lineup in the playoffs. And I'd been saying that all through the season. I said, what is the blinking red light on this team is the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. They were all hitting at one point at or below 200. And you just can't give away the equivalent of 3 innings in a playoff game.
Yep.
You can't do it. And so I'm focusing on the bottom 3 of the order. They've got to – now, they had games in September when the rest of the order was underperforming, that the bottom of the order was getting it done. So
I thought Rocchio played his best baseball in September.
Much better in September. Yeah. And Rocchio was the poster child of the 7, 8, 9 hitters that were underperforming.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, I think in that order, Thomas, Manzardo, and then if you're in the 7, 8, and 9 slot, you can't be invisible.
I would say Manzardo, just because, he can get hot. I mean, he played 23 games and had 5 home runs. Yeah. And so that...
After a terrible start when he was first up.
Yeah, I mean, the May and June was not great, but then he got better. I just feel like, in a game, well, I mean, every game in the playoffs is huge. He can win you a game with one swing.
Remember, Oscar Gonzalez was a playoff hero 2 years ago.
You talked, Dustin mentioned before, football game, it's all prisoner moment, right? Yeah. And in baseball, you can't do that, but in the playoffs, you do.
Sure.
Every pitch.
In the playoffs,
every pitch.
You follow the games like you do a football game.
You do.
Where everything... Every moment matters because you lose one game, that could be it. So, to your point on Manzardo, he's their best prospect. He played like it when he came back, his second tour of duty with the team. He has legitimate power. Wouldn't surprise me next year if he hit 25 home runs. And nobody else on this team besides Jose and Naylor hit 25 home runs.
I'm with you. I would expect him to hit at least 20.
The only reason I picked Lane Thomas over Manzardo is Lane Thomas is going to play every day. Manzardo's just going to play against righties.
Which is why I had him number 2. How many opportunities is he going to get against lefties?
But he could be, speaking of that 7, 8, 9 in the lineup, if you're facing a lefty, let's say Skubal's pitching or Framber's pitching for
you throw him in the bottom.
Okay, well, late in the game, I'm bringing in Manzardo to pinch hit for my 7, 8,
Oh, absolutely. Particularly depending on who's pitching, but you're absolutely
right. In a big spot.
Come on, man. You guys, why y'all do that? Why y'all going to go with these hitters?
Yeah.
That's
who you got?
Listen, I got Hunter Gaddis. He's the Adam Miller this whole playoff series.
Andrew Miller.
Andrew Miller. Yeah. Adam Miller used to be.
Adam Miller is our former news director.
Right.
Now he's the president of talent.
Didn't the Indians many years ago have a good prospect named Adam Miller, and he just didn't pan out?
Yeah,
I feel like that was the case.
I feel like, but listen, Hunter Gaddis. Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, I can't count on Ben Lively. I might not be able to know what I'm going to get from Bobby or Williams. But when you talking about the Guardians bullpen, the best part of their team has to dominate.
Yeah.
Like they can't take a step back and they can't say, oh, well, listen, he came in and got hit hard. You know what you got out of Class A, right? You know that's lights out. If you can get to a point where you get Hunter Gaddis and these guys in the bullpen and you say fifth inning, it's lights out, the Guardians shorten the game on you real quick.
To the point of Hunter Gaddis, I actually, in my mind, Hunter Gaddis has been too good this year to put him into that category of X Factor.
Yeah.
Same thing with Cade Smith.
But this was non-star.
Yeah,
but
can the bullpen guy be a star?
Well, Andrew Miller wasn't a closer, and he was a star.
But I'll tell you what, if you're going to go the bullpen, to me, an X factor is Tim Herron because he's your lefty.
Herron's
great,
and he's your lefty. Like you know, your three best relievers are Clase, Gaddis, and
Cade Smith.
All in one. All in one.
All righties. But you're going to bring in Tim Herron. When you're facing whoever you're facing, you got to face a big lefty in the fifth inning.
You need that out.
Big lefty in the sixth inning. That's when I got to deploy Tim Herron.
And and it's fun because when you watched them back in 16 and you knew they was going to the bullpen. Now they burned my man all the way out. But if you can get to a point where the Guardians is like, oh yeah, we're up 3-1. You about to see all.
Yeah.
If they have 3-1 leads in the sixth inning of games, you can just about wrap them
up.
Night.
And the good thing compared to 16 is in that year in the bullpen they had Miller and Allen who were sensational, but that's it. They only had two guys you trust.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's four now.
At least four.
Clase, Herron, Gaddis, Cade Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think I mentioned this here. And I still haven't looked it up yet. I think I mentioned this with Zach yesterday. And I don't know if this has ever happened. Maybe it has. But the Guardians, I wonder if they'll be the first team ever to do this. Have somebody finish top 5, Manager of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year. Have a top 5 finisher, but nobody wins from the Guardians.
That's rough.
Now, I don't know if that's going to happen.
What about like 95 and 97?
I don't know.
I don't remember that anybody won postseason awards.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm doing a piece on the 94 Indians because it's been 30 years, and I've talked to a lot of the Indians or Guardians players and Tom Hamilton. I've been researching that season a lot. One of the things that people, I think, if you didn't experience that summer, you probably don't know or you've forgotten. When the season was canceled, August 14th or 12th was the last games.
Yeah.
They were 19 games over 500. They led Major League Baseball in 5 offensive categories: hits, runs, RBIs, home runs, and batting average. This team was absolutely playing lights out baseball when they turned the lights out on baseball.
Right.
Is this
insane?
Yeah. I don't listen. Clase, I think his ERA what is it? Point something.
It's under 1.
It's 0.6. Yeah. But you take a look, and I don't know, is this rare? Cade Smith, 191, 74 games. Hunter Gaddis, 157. Herron is 192.
The Guardians have the best.
Can you have 5 or 6 dudes with an ERA?
The Guardians have the best bullpen, or at least as of 2 weeks ago. I don't know what it finished, but I'm sure it didn't get affected much. As of like 2 weeks to go in the season, or 10 days, they had the best bullpen ERA in a decade.
It's crazy.
And I think like the 5th best since the 2000s.
I would expect that held because they.
So that probably held. I mean, even if it didn't hold, it's the 2nd best.
Well, they have the best bullpen in baseball, and it's not even close. And if the Guardians are going to win the World Series, they're going to have to continue to play that way, and they're going to have their. Jose Ramirez has not been a good playoff hitter. Nope. When you look at his postseason splits, they are not good.
Let's see.
Now, I hate saying that about him because he has no weakness to his game. He's actually a 6-tool player because effort isn't a category, and it should be.
If I remember,
this guy is a 6-tool guy, but his playoff numbers have not. I think he has 4 postseason home runs.
If I remember, I thought he struggled in 16. I remember Lindor playing
he did.
But I don't remember Ramirez playing that
So
well.
his career OPS in the postseason.
I think he's at 240 in the playoffs, somewhere around
his
there.
career OPS is 638, which is very bad.
Yeah.
However,
bad for him.
That's bad in general.
It is, but there are guys that get by with that, but not superstars.
Well, an OPS of 638 is really bad. I mean, 7-15
That's
is
Andres Jimenez.
Particularly when you look at where he is as in the regular season.
right.
There is a precipitous drop-off from Jose Ramirez regular season to Jose Ramirez playoffs.
However,
And this might be the year that he shakes
in the
that.
last time he was in the postseason in 2022, he was 10 for 30, which is obviously 333. He had 3 extra base hits, 4 RBIs in 7 games.
No home runs, though, right?
1 home run.
Okay.
He's hit only 2 home runs in the postseason.
Which is stunning because he's been there a lot.
Yep. He hit a home run in the World
32
Series
games.
against the Cubs.
So 2 home runs over 32 games is not Jose Ramirez. Now, the good news is he got hot that last little bit of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this week does to a hitter. I can tell you that it's not helpful.
Yeah.
It's rare that a hitter takes a week off and comes back and blows it up.
Right. And just to defend Jose, you're right. He hasn't been good in the postseason. However, there have been a lot of great players.
Look at Judge.
That were not good in the postseason. And then all of a sudden, like Alex
Vines.
Rodriguez for years.
Yep.
Terrible in the postseason. And then he had that one postseason with the Yankees where he was unstoppable. Well, Greg Maddox's numbers in the postseason, except for 1 year, not amazing.
No,
so
you're
there's
right.
been a lot of great players.
You're right.
Hopefully this is the year he puts it together.
He's due.
Yeah.
I mean, he's certainly due, and I don't think
Yeah.
it's the moment being too big for him because close and late, Jose is fantastic.
If
we know he's a clutch guy.
Yep.
And there's nothing more clutch than October baseball. Let's just hope that he sheds that October demise and comes out swinging and has a great playoff series against the Tigers and carries it on.
Jay, if somebody gives you a magic number and they say, blind study, the Guardians have to average how many runs a game for you to say, oh, that's a nice sweet spot for them to win a World Series?
I'd be comfortable with 4, little over 4. I think their pitching staff is a lot better than people are giving it credit nationally. I had a conversation not yesterday, 2 days ago.
Starting rotation?
Pitching.
Oh,
no, pitching
okay.
in general. Because let's face it,
4 runs?
everybody focuses too much on the starters in the playoffs. Now, it's easy to do, and when you got a guy like Skubal, of course you're going to focus on him. But he only went 6 innings. The Astros got 9 outs against their bullpen.
Yeah.
So, the last thing a manager ever wants to hear is moaning in the dugout about a starter staying in the game longer. And obviously, the more you see him within the game, the better your chances are of you getting to him. But I look at pitching in general, and I think the Guardians' pitching is now. I also have to have the best of all of them. I need the best Boyd. I don't need the shaky Boyd. I need the best Gavin Williams. Because when you look at the best of all of the Guardians' pitchers, and you can't say this about every team in the playoffs, Bull, when you look at the high-end performances of all of our pitchers, it's good enough. But with Gavin Williams, who am I going to get?
It is. But
I don't know.
But I mean, Boyd, the high end is a pretty small sample size.
Yeah, but he's looked really, really good when he's been really good.
I know, but that's only for a couple of weeks this year. He's never been that good.
You can't ask a guy that's never looked good to suddenly in October look great. That rarely happens.
Yeah.
What you need is these guys to play at the peak of their performance.
Sure.
And that's going to be good enough.
I don't have any faith. I don't have much
question.
faith in their starting pitching outside of Bybee. I think they're going to need a lot of innings from their relief pitchers, and I think they can win that way. I think the smart baseball people, if you listen to MLB radio,
I do a lot.
Those guys talk about it all the time. Nobody, I don't think people are obsessed with starting pitching. I think that's an old school mentality.
I thought the broadcasters during yesterday's games, in particular, were focused a lot on the starting pitching.
Well, there were some good starters.
There were,
yesterday.
and you're always going to get the best in game
Yeah.
one, provided that your rotation lines up.
Right.
But I think more so in 2024 than even 2016, because I think that's where the game is trended. Look at our best pitcher threw 190 some innings, I'm sorry, Skubal.
Yeah.
Skubal threw like 190. This is a guy that goes deep into games.
Right.
So it's a different game.
It is.
And in the playoffs, as you know, everything is micromanaged.
Right.
So you get I was, quite frankly, I thought that game almost got away in the second inning yesterday from the Astros. Now, they shut the door after that point, and they were great. But I'm not sure how much leash the Guardian starters are going to have if they've given up 3 runs in the first 2 innings.
Oh, they're out.
They might be gone.
Outside of maybe Bybee, they're out.
He's the only one that deserves it, too, by the way.
And that's the advantage the Guardians have, is they have a depth of high-quality arms that nobody else has in the pen.
And that's what I'm focusing on.
And that might include a Gavin Williams. There's a possibility they're going to use him out of the pen. There's a possibility.
Yes, I think they will.
Because I think, and Zach is convinced that they want to start Alex Cobb because they believe in Alex Cobb.
I do too.
Even though he's only pitched 16 innings. And if you don't use him in the division in this first round, then what are you going to do? You can't all of a sudden you can pitch him in the championship
No,
series?
but listen, I'm with Zach on this.
Yeah.
And not just believing that the Guardians are going to.
Yeah.
If I'm the Guardians, I absolutely throw him.
But it's risky.
There's a risk there, but I've seen his stuff when his fingers aren't boogered up.
Yeah.
And his stuff has been, he took a perfect game into the 7th inning.
Yeah.
He, last year, late in the season, threw a no-hitter for 8 2/3 against the Reds. I know what his A game looks like, and it's good enough for the playoffs.
And unlike the rest of their pitchers, he's pitched in the postseason. It was a long time ago. But he has pitched in the postseason. And so they're going to trust him, I think.
I think they should.
I wouldn't be surprised if he went game 3, especially if they're up 2-0 in that series. But it's going to be interesting to see how they deploy the bullpen, because I could see a scenario with any of the Guardian starters outside of Bybee that if the starting pitcher's in trouble in the first inning, they'll go to the pen right there.
It's going to be the shortest leash we've ever seen.
And remember, this is a huge advantage for the Guardians. Only games 3 and 4 of this series are back-to-back.
You're right.
Everything else, there's a day between 1 and 2, between 2 and 3, and between 4 and 5. That's a huge edge for their bullpen because, in theory, they could pitch Clase, Smith, and Gaddis in all 5 games if it went that far.
If they had to.
And they'd only be pitching back-to-back days once.
I know.
That's
huge.
it.
We got a huge schedule break, and thank goodness that we got it. So we'll see. But I think if you score more than 4 runs, I like our chances.
You should win the game.
I like our chances.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Guardians have bullpen, base running, defense. Those are their big edges over the rest of the competition.
Yeah.
They are the best bullpen,
and you know what, Bill,
best
they
base
do
running,
have
best
power.
defense.
Like, I know that we don't think of them as a power team, but they've got guys capable of powering up.
I said it yesterday. In 2022, if they fell behind, they were in trouble.
Big trouble.
Because they had no power.
Yep.
Last year, when they were bad, they had the
worst
power we've ever seen.
Yeah.
This year, they're not elite power-wise, but they're good. They finished 12th or 13th, whatever the hell it was. They're good enough because you got 2 studs, obviously, and you have enough other guys that can pop one.
Yeah.
Last year they had 5 useless players in the lineup. There's going to be no Miles Straw. There's going to be no Austin Hedges in the lineup. No. So, you got guys that can, hit 10, 12 home runs, which is better than 3, 4 home runs.
No question.
I like their chances, and there's things that they do well that the other teams don't. That's their advantage.
Yeah, I love the fact that I like that you brought up defense and running.
Yeah, because those are not thought about, really.
Look at Dave Roberts' stolen base in the year that the Red Sox finally broke through.
Yeah, came back down 3-0.
They were down 3-0.
Yeah.
It looked like they were going to be swept.
Yep.
They put Dave Roberts in as a pinch runner. He steals a base. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
They broke there. And I like this team's got 4 guys that I think should have the green light to run whenever they want.
And it's not just the stolen bases.
It's
the ability to take that extra base.
Go first to third, go second to home.
And that not only gets you an extra base, it can also lead to a bad throw. Now now the outfielders know, Jose's running or Jimenez is running. Or
it puts pressure on
whatever. It puts pressure on, extra pressure,
right.
And it leads to more bad throws.
Absolutely does. You guys didn't say much during that, so what do you think?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't answer Garrett's question.
They answered it at the end.
The 4 runs. I caught that part, but I mean, it took a while to get there, though.
Bull. He got excited. He was coaching third base the whole time.
I felt like I was watching a tennis match, like this. Nat,
By the way, speaking of coaching third base, we have for our fall league. The championships are next week because they got rained out this past Sunday. But this Sunday is our All-Star games.
That's right.
Of which I'm the head coach of one side because I made it to the World Series. But we're playing them at League Park.
Oh, we played some of our Pan Am games.
Isn't that cool?
Park.
Was it?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just so I could say I hit a ball over the right field wall, which is where Babe Ruth hit a home run there.
That's right. You and Babe.
I stood at first base after one of the games.
There you go. You and Babe, both pitchers and hitters.
We both sailed one over the big wall at League Park.
We gotta
can pull off me and Babe Ruth. Same.
That's right, baby.
That's right.
I said, hold on. I
think this guy can pull it off too. I mean, Adam's
the same age.
That's true.
We got to read.
We got a guest to bring in here. Bull's gonna say goodbye to us.
Got a doctor's appointment.
He's so sneaky.
So Bull's going to sneak out of here. If you guys want even more Browns content, G did an Ultimate Brown show yesterday. The title of that video, Deshaun Watson versus the haters. What's the real truth? Another
That's a
classic,
crazy line.
absolute fire headline from your guy, G. Bush.
Did you break down video?
You know we can't bring down no video.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're breaking laws if you're breaking down video.
You trying to get my pay docked. No,
So you can check out that. There's going to be an Ultimate Buckeye show this week. We got the interviews with Kenny Atkinson and Kobe Altman up on the YouTube page, plus 2 Ultimate Guardians episodes up this week. So make sure you check it out all on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page. And with that, we welcome in Browns in-stadium host Bridget Linton to the show. How you doing, Bridget?
Hi, guys.
Wait, that's not Bull. What in the world?
I feel like we look so similar. It's crazy.
What just happened to our show?
We literally just did a magic trick.
You know you had to show up on UCSS, and if you show up, you got to have your shoe game together. And I see what you did there.
I do.
Yeah.
I do got the shoe game going on right here.
I like those.
Thank you.
You're doing your thing on
You know, oddly enough, Bull has that same pair.
He does, yeah.
Liars. Bull ain't seen those. You don't even know where to buy them at.
He's got his
Bridget Linton,
Arthur
welcome to the show.
Tree store shoes on. Baby.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you again.
I wish that we were talking about a lot more exciting things happening with the Browns.
It sucks, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, we're 1-3. It feels like I said on Monday. I mean, it almost feels like the air is completely out of our sail, and we're just sort of limping along now.
Well, and just looking at last year, we did so well at home, and that was the most exciting part. Just especially with my job, that's my whole gig is to hype up the fans, be a part of it with them. And this year, it just feels like we have this. We started off so high, and it just keeps getting lower and lower and lower. And I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah,
they were so good at home last year.
Well, the defense looks like a shell of itself.
Yeah.
And we still haven't figured it out on offense. So.
One of my favorite games last year was the Jets game. I don't know how y'all got that off, but like in stadiums like college, Dustin, you know, doing the college games, when they score, they turn the lights off and just a whole light show. I thought it was.
You remember the days when it took like 10 minutes to get the lights on?
Yeah, then or hit the cannon going off. Now they go off and they like it's a whole club.
Yeah,
like you guys doing that, like. I want to see more of that. When we gonna get that off again?
Okay, thank you for saying that because we do. We have so many plans for this season, and that's why it's been so disappointing that it's not translating on the field because the entertainment side of it, we're going all out.
Well, the light show has to be a night game.
Yes, true.
You can't have a light show on the day.
So stay tuned for that. But honestly, I am really excited for the Browns-Bengals game. It's our rock and roll game.
Yeah.
I think it's the night before is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions right here in downtown Cleveland. So we're gonna make it fun. We tried to make the home opener amazing as we possibly could. We had MGK show up. We had the Black Keys as our dog pound captains. We always try to make it more of, okay, hey, even if the players aren't doing what they're supposed to do on the field, at least you had a good time.
Yeah, how do you make it a show?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Now, we don't like that thinking.
Right, exactly.
We like that. You know what? We saw a great football game and a great show. We can't have an okay football game but a great show. That's definitely not going to fly in Cleveland. What, in your view, you mentioned that it hasn't been the same level of enthusiasm. Obviously, when you're winning, it's hard to get the crowd hyped up. What's missing on the field, in your view? Like, is it the quarterback? Is it the defense? What's going wrong?
I think it's everything. Like right now, it's been so easy for everyone to blame Deshaun Watson, like the quarterback. It's the easiest position to blame. When you watch it, he didn't have a bad game in Vegas. He's showing improvements. I'm like, it's the defense, it's the offense, it's special teams, it's coaching. I just feel like right now we're just not at the level that they should be. Again, especially coming off of a high of last year. Like, playoffs are not the expectations anymore. Like, no, we want to go on a deep run into January and February, and to start the season off like this, it's sad, it's disappointing. And again, in my job where I'm supposed to be like the hype woman, it's getting a little difficult. But I will say in Vegas, that was unbelievable. It felt like we took the city of Cleveland and just dropped it in Vegas.
It was amazing how many fans were in that stadium.
Yes, so much orange and brown everywhere you went. I got recognized more in Vegas than I do here in my own city in Cleveland.
Nuts.
I'm walking through the different hotels, walking the strip, and be like, Bridget, doing the Here We Go Brownies chant. It just, the hype going into that game was so high. And again, we haven't been able to win at home. I think the Raiders, they're a beatable team. They don't have all of their players on the field. This is the game that's going to rejuvenate everything. And so that was so disappointing. But again, the hype is still there. We're a Browns town. The fans, they're not leaving this team, that's for sure.
Well, you talk about the hype. I mean, you're going to get Nick Chubb back here sometime in the next several weeks, right? And that could maybe rejuvenate this team in terms of the offense and getting kind of that hype rolling again. Is it fair? We asked the question earlier. Is it fair to put a lot of pressure on Nick when he gets back?
I think so. I mean, he's Nick Chubb. And even him last year just being around, I mean, look how well they did at home. Like, him just still being around and his presence there, I feel like made such a difference with this team. So I think him coming to practice today, I don't know when he's going to actually be able to play in a game again, but I think just him being around will hopefully help. And then when he is back on the field, I think it's okay to put some pressure on him, especially if the medical team says, like, hey, he's good to go, then why not?
I don't think we'll see him on the field until the medical team says he's 100%.
Right.
But you know what, Bridget, you make an interesting point, because did you guys see the video that Njoku put out of he was walking into the facility and he had his arm around Nick Chubb, and it was funny to me that he was singing the theme song from a television sitcom in the 1960s. Not quite sure how he even knows that song.
I mean, he's eclectic.
But he knew it.
Right.
And I just thought, you know what? I think everybody does walk into the facility this week with a little extra bounce in their step, a little bit of energy in the tank, because 24 is back in the building. From a player standpoint, you've been through this, where key pieces of your team were not there, and then suddenly they were. What kind of infusion does that bring a football team?
It's huge. Whenever I remember, this is not quite the scale, but like in the year we won the title in 2002, when we lost Claret early in the season because he was battling some injuries. Every time he came back, and he came back multiple times, but like I remember when he had the knee surgery early in the year, it's like, man, we got through that Cincinnati game, and like we had a bye week coming up, and then he came back for the run, throughout October, November to help us. Yeah, and we couldn't have done it without him.
Yeah.
You couldn't have.
Did you feel extra energy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to get you in trouble, Bridget.
Me or Jay?
No, Bridget. I don't want to get you in no trouble. But listen, the stadium, right? So, like, come on. Like, from your perspective, like, we saw the renderings and the drawings. I'm looking like, man, I can go shopping there. There's a food court right here. Bro, like, I know the backstage is crazy. It's concerts there. Like, what do you want to do? You prefer outside, or what you want to do to the new stadium?
She was just in Vegas.
I was about to say, listen, I love the stadium that we have now, and I think there's something special about Cleveland that we do have all 4 seasons. And you're there, you get bundled up when we're playing in November, December. There's something unique and special about that. But yeah, then going to Vegas and being at Allegiant Stadium. Last year I was in SoFi Stadium, and I'm like, dang.
How incredible is that stadium?
It's unbelievable. And I love what they did specifically in Vegas. They played into what their city is. They literally have bottle service tables on the field. We have our amazing field seats. Oh no, they have their cocktail waitresses with the bottles. They make it a party there because, when it comes to Vegas, not Raiders fans, they're not like Cleveland fans. Again, there's a reason why it was a lot of orange and brown at Allegiant Stadium and not a lot of diehard Raiders fans. So they play into it. And they make it a series, a concert every single game, which is really exciting. And I think that in Cleveland, we'll stick with football if we have a stadium like that. But look what we're able to do outside of the season.
Entertainment-wise, are you serious? Like, and I don't got to go outside? Like,
and from a wardrobe standpoint, you don't need the Uggs and you don't need the fur coats anymore.
Okay, what was it? I think it was 2 seasons ago. We played on Christmas Eve.
Yes, I was at that game.
Okay, so like
coldest game I've ever been to.
And at that point, like, we're not going to the playoffs.
That was the Saints game, right?
Yes.
Oh, that was nasty.
And it was like negative 20 degrees. There's barely anyone in the stadium. It was so cold. Browns weren't playing well, and it's Christmas Eve. I literally just wore a ski suit. Wore a ski suit, 70,000 layers underneath. I didn't care what I looked like at that point.
At that, I always wonder. I used to ask my dad this all the time, and I don't know why I asked him. This dude goes to church 55 times a day. He's like, I said, Dad, why don't the Browns have cheerleaders? He just looked at me like, yeah, I don't. I said, so if you had to choose bottle services, right? So, because I like that. I like bottle services side.
Sure.
I like that. Bottle services, cheerleaders, or a band? Which would you add?
Wow.
I would go with the band or the cheerleaders for sure, because the Raiders did have the Raiderettes.
Right.
And listen, I was on dance team in college, so I found myself at the game. I'm like watching them. I'm like, oh yeah, get it, girls. And I'm like, dang, I want that at Cleveland Browns.
They're iconic. Like,
we've never had them.
Never.
I think we're one of the few franchises that has never had them.
Yeah.
Ask Jimmy. I need you to talk to Jimmy Haslam and say, hey, listen.
If we go to that dome, I think the cheerleaders are coming.
I hope so.
Yeah, you can't have cheerleaders in December in Cleveland. You can't.
Yeah,
no.
it's
not a good look.
Yeah, it's not a good look though.
Would we get some more free agents?
Is that a calling card? I mean, you got to think about it. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are iconic.
That's what I'm saying.
The Laker girls are iconic.
Wait, are you talking about more free agents because we have cheerleaders or because we play the Dome?
I was being more sarcastic.
Okay.
But yeah, but I mean, we can go down that road.
But I took it seriously. Like I was
no players picking a team because they have cheerleaders.
No, there's
But they might, if we have a dome, they might, that case.
A dome would definitely reel in players.
There's called rules and regulations. HR, we're going to need to have a conversation about that, but that's neither here nor there. But the dome, I think that brings a lot of people.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It definitely does.
Well, Deshaun Watson initially said wasn't interested in playing in Cleveland, primarily because of the weather.
Yeah.
And and you know what? If you think about where the football players come from, I know Ohio produces a ton, but historically they come from Florida, Texas,
South.
California. Those guys, if they go to a Southeastern Conference school, their bowl games are always in warm weather locations or domes. They never play in the elements.
No.
And then they find out they're drafted by Cleveland, and they're like, "Oh no, I can't have this."
Yeah, it's tough. Like this is a question. Obviously, you work in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. You're a woman, and there's not that much representation in this type of market for women. For those individuals or women or young ladies that want to get into the business, tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into the business, and any advice for young ladies that want to break into a male-dominated, driven industry.
And I'm glad you asked that question because my answer has changed over the years of the piece of advice portion. I will say, big Northeast Ohio girl, grew up in Greene, Ohio, went to University of Akron. I've worked in Cleveland ever since. So just kind of kept moving a little bit north, but I've never gotten out of here. So I've grown up as a Cleveland fan. So working in Cleveland sports is really a dream. When people always ask me, well, what's next? Do you want to go national? Do you want to do this? I'm like, I'm working for a team I grew up cheering for.
Right.
And yeah, I have the same emotions as every other Cleveland fan of the emotional roller coaster, but I'm never going to stop being a Browns fan.
Right.
So it's been amazing. When I graduated from University of Akron, I was fortunate enough to get a job at Fox Sports Ohio right out of college. So I was there for about 3 years. You guys all know Jimmy Hanlon. So I hosted a golf show with him. And at that point I was kind of like, what do I want to do next? I feel like I've gotten all I can out of here. I knew I never wanted to be the typical female in sports, a sideline reporter. I did like the entertainment side of sports. And at that point, social media was on the rise. They were starting to bring more entertainment into sports. And so Jimmy is the one, I got to give him credit, said, have you ever thought about radio? When you're in radio, you talk about everything. It's not a TV position where it's like, all right, you got 30 seconds, you have this interview. I'm like, no, I haven't. So I looked into that, started working at ESPN Cleveland. And then 2 years ago, the Browns had reached out about the position open for the in-game host for the Browns, started doing that, and it's really opened up a lot of doors. So stepped away from radio and really have gone full in the hosting, live event hosting, TV, all of that stuff. Outside of sports, I do a lot of other live event hosting as well, pageants, galas, all of them.
Yeah. But that's so crazy because it's like you kind of have to be multifaceted. You have to, if you're not just going to do the sports, you're doing other things because now it's kind of like you have to be a jack of all trades.
Have you seen her dance with them, the tap dance?
Oh yeah, that's my fun fact. I can Irish dance too.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Really? Like clog?
Gee, you didn't know this?
No.
Dude, you haven't seen her do
Oh
it?
my
no,
gosh,
I had
Jay,
no
I was
idea.
a world-class Irish dancer, yes.
Yeah.
Really?
She's a big deal on Instagram.
It's a thing.
Your
dude.
social media game, Jay.
On the gram?
Your gram game.
I'm not on point on the gram. How am I doing?
I did. No, I used to travel like the world competing in Irish dance.
No kidding.
Yeah.
McNuggets, how did you not set her up? You should have told her to bring the clogs and had a music bed ready to go.
You guys will have to have me on again.
As someone who grew up with the sister who was a professional ballerina, I hate dance. No offense, Bridget. I had to sit through.
My sister owns dance companies.
I had to sit through so
and
many
studios
recitals
in
as a
Phoenix.
kid.
Oh my!
So she grew up in that world.
Brutal.
Here's the question I have to you. You attended a party at my house.
I did.
How did I not see that at the party?
Well, I didn't know we were offering up party tricks. I would have.
Well, listen, it's always on the table. It's
all
always
right,
on the
next time.
table.
You know what? Next time I'm just
weren't
going to
at
walk
that
into
party.
any room I walk into.
Whatever
I'm
my
gonna say,
invite was.
No, hold on. Let me backtrack.
We weren't at that.
No,
joint.
it was
No more text, bro? I can't get a text?
This
All
was
right,
an
no.
exclusive.
Man.
This is an exclusive.
It was a Channel J thing.
Jay didn't even invite me, you guys.
That's not true.
crashed?
That's not true because I told Queso, you know your circle, go nuts.
Yeah. This is for Laura Queso, who was a news anchor on WKYC, good friend of mine.
Dear friend of both of us.
And she was
Jay was leaving
nice
to Boston.
Enough. Yes.
We threw the going away party at the crib, and so this is a true story. Bridget got pissed at me because when we were there, I don't know why, I called her Brittany, I think, didn't I?
Yeah, it's like the worst name to.
I know, Bridget.
They're very different names.
And
he's
so,
like, Brittany, I'm so glad you came. Like, well, that's not even my name. But
but I'm sure you're glad. Yeah, I felt awful. I'm not great with names in general. Like, so it's
You'll
not.
never forget now.
Oh my God.
Yes,
absolutely
you will
not.
Never, ever
but
forget.
I'm just wondering why I didn't see any of the Irish dancing at the party. It would have been a hit.
I think you guys need to have another party.
I think
that'll come on.
I got to invite these two.
Have me back on the show. We'll do a little talent show segment.
A talent section of the
yes.
show.
And by the way,
I want to see you and Bull side by side.
Great.
Irish dancing.
I love it.
Shout out to your
pay
friend
not to
Betsy.
see that.
Shout out to Betsy.
Oh, Bets.
No, I see you, not him.
We went to OU together, and we actually have the same birthday.
No way.
Yeah, shout out
Oh,
to
you're a
Betsy.
Scorpio too.
Yeah.
We have
boy.
super chats.
2 super chats to wrap up the show. Reggie Bug Glover says, tell Jay the Indians were on pace to win 120 games that season, the 94 season. Best team ever. And
Wait, no, they were not on pace to win 120 games.
There's only 160.
I just get paid to tell you what they paid to tell you. And Halim
They
Youssef
were not on
says,
pace to win.
Amari Cooper admitted to running the wrong route on the final play. So that can maybe clear up some of the confusion as to what Sean was talking about.
Oh,
How
yeah,
we
because he
missed.
made it a point saying that Amari should have been the primary.
Yeah, I
on
think
the final
Amari ran
play.
the wrong play.
Okay, well,
Wrong
that's good.
route,
Good,
so.
good to know. Good to know. The Guardians were 19 games over 500 when the season was canceled. Technically, they weren't even in first place. The White Sox had a game lead. They were in a wild card spot. They had a 2.5 lead over the.
Shout out to Blackjack McDowell that year. He was dealing.
Blackjack McDowell.
See you in overtime.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Peace.
What a great name, by the way.
Bridget, thanks.
Thanks for.